I visited the early game. I've come on some unofficial visits previous to this, and it just always felt like this was the place that I needed to be. And so, while my other time slot was amazing, it just felt like, if the opportunity ever came, I'm not saying there was any tampering involved, but if the opportunity ever came, I knew that there might be an opportunity here for me at the early game. And so, with that being said, I'd like to say here today that I am 100% committed to Bill Gunter, Jen Jansen, and 107.5 and the early game.
And Jen Jensen.
However, yesterday Preston and I learned we have some things in common. For example, there is still only one of us in this studio out of the three of us who likes to do yard work, and is still the manliest woman in this studio because she knows how to use a hedger.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Day 2 for Preston Thorne. He was very thrilled with how day 1 went. Preston didn't realize there was all those hours in the day that you can do neat things. He said he went grocery shopping yesterday.
Yeah.
He did laundry. He took a nap. All because he got up bright and early, did our radio.
Or dark and early.
Dark and well, it's true. It's not bright. It was less bright yesterday. It was rainy. You missed a fun commute in.
Mm-hmm.
So you as you are back now. You're back and ready to go. Many people were worried about you. They thought you just seen us two on Thursday morning and been like, that's it. She had just turned in her 2 days resignation.
Exactly. Peace out.
Just gone. But Jen's back, and Preston's back for day 2. So yeah, what's it again? I said this yesterday. It's not like you're not accustomed to getting up this early. It's just I think probably the last time you really had to do it, it was followed by heading to class.
Yeah, it's kind of like working out. You do it one day, like, is that enough? Am I good? And then you have to realize you have to do it again. So this morning I was like, I do this again today. And I'm
not sure. Do I like this or not?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, all right, I got to keep continuously doing this. Now, it's great, man. I like I said, I'm traditionally an early person. I like getting up early. I don't mind being up at this time. So having the rest of the day to do whatever I need to get done this is A1 for me.
So there you go. So Preston's back for day 2. Jen is now fully involved and back, and we get you up and get you going here on a Tuesday morning. It'll be a bit of a busy Tuesday morning, a lot to get to, a lot of South Carolina football news that we will get into as we are now about 24 hours away from, I guess you'd still call it official signing day, or, what we all grew up on, what you remember, Preston, as your official signing day, the first Wednesday in February. This year it falls on the very first day of February 1st tomorrow. We will wait patiently for the announcement from Nicholas Harbor. We'll catch up with J.C. Shurburtt in the next hour to discuss that and a few other things. There's an interesting move on the South Carolina football administrative staff. Kristen Coggins, the nutritionist, is heading to Nebraska. And if it was just me doing the show, I wouldn't really know how to address this, or really other than just say, hey, South Carolina needs a nutritionist. Okay, I wouldn't know what to do. But this is where having Preston is going to be a lot of fun and makes it so much more interesting, because Preston, while never playing for Spurrier, if I understood Spurrier correctly, Preston was part of the nutritionist group of football players that frequented Bernie's and Bojangles way too much prior to the arrival of Steve Spurrier. And if anybody remembers back then, about 17 years ago, that seemed to be one of the first things that Spurrier wanted to fix was, all right, we got to eat healthier and not fried chicken all the time from the fried chicken places right by the stadium.
Steve Spurrier was a great coach on a lot of things, but he was wrong on this one.
Okay.
He was wrong on this one. It may have been successful on the field. I get it. I understand. But to take away that fried chicken from them players was downright awful. Okay. Now, for real, a lot of my teammates, I graduated in 2004, right before Spurrier came in. And when Spurrier came in 2005, I got so many phone calls because he had changed the menu up, and instead of getting burgers before the night before games, they were getting wraps, and they were not happy.
Okay,
they were not happy about these wraps.
We will get more in depth on that because look, it is part now where football is. It's funny. Last Friday, I believe. I think the program was on. Darnell Jefferson was committing to ESU, and James Caan? James Caan is doing his thing, and they're playing at the Wolf Den, not too far from here, and but the program alone, but football as a whole has changed so much, and I don't. It's not that I don't think 20 years ago that y'all thought about nutrition. It's just that now it is a part of a recruiting package when you bring kids on. We've seen South Carolina, I think it was Stone Blanton last, I believe, January or December. It was Stone Blanton who one of the big things for him was they brought him on campus for his official visit, and they were showing him how to cook his own meals in his dorm. I'm pretty sure the exhibition of how to cook your own meals, how to stay healthy, was not part of the official visit Preston Thorne took.
Absolutely not. I mean, if you consider how to make ramen in E-Squad, if you consider those types of meals, ramen, tuna, all your type of, prison type fare that people are familiar with. But
who was your roommate? Who was your?
It was, Jonathan Austin, Jeremiah Garrison, my guy. I had a plethora of roommates.
Okay,
and all very interesting. I will say.
What was the best cook out of this group?
As we talked about yesterday, Jonathan Austin. Jonathan could throw down, man.
I mean, he
and by the way, his mother used to send him back with pans and pans of Chewies, and they were phenomenal.
Okay,
they were phenomenal.
I don't know what Chewies are.
Oh wow! So Chewies are like a brownie-ish, cookie-ish. If a brownie and a cookie got together.
All I can say is this sounds like a dorm full of linemen and Jeremiah Garrison. Just linemen.
But Jeremiah was one of those dudes who could eat whatever and you would never show up on him. So he was good. And then we had defensive back Rasheem Monroe, and we just used to take his food.
Okay.
He just get bullied.
He had no luck.
He had whatever he brought to the room was taken. He couldn't resist anybody.
Well, we will get into that. Jen, of course, is our bar 3 expert in here, and matter of fact, her and Preston had a bit of a conversation about that. I believe last Thursday as we were walking out the door. So, but we'll get in because it's not a move. And I look, whether it resonates or not, and turns into say taking your team from 8 victories to 10 victories or whatever. I don't know, but it is interesting because the football support staff has changed so much from when Preston played. I mean, it's changed so much from when Steve Spurrier was winning 10 and 11 games over a decade ago. But that was some news last night as it pertains to South Carolina being reported by both BigSpur.com and by Gamecock Central. Kristen Coggins, who had been the nutritionist for many a year, I think since 2016, is heading to Nebraska. And South Carolina will actually have to hire a nutritionist. And again, it's interesting because normally people would go, who cares? But this was part of the recruiting pitch that had been used as, hey, this lady, I actually, as I was telling Preston, if there was 3 women in here and one of them was Jen, I'd have a 50-50 chance on guessing which one was Kristen Coggins. I've never met her. I don't know who she is or what she looks like, but I know that she was a big part of what not only Will Muschamp was trying to do in his recruiting pitch, but what obviously Shane Beamer has done the last few years. And the first time I really took notice was last year when Stone Blanton, again, was on his official visit. And one of the big things he talked about in post-visit interviews was sitting down with the nutritional staff and them actually doing a class, so to speak, during the visit on food that they could cook in their dorm. So we'll get some Preston stories from his days, and also it appears there may be a little bit of interest there in how angry the team was when Steve Spurrier took away the fried chicken options prior to the game back in 2005. So if you want to weigh in on that, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so this morning. You can hit us up on the Love Chevy phone lines, or on the Firehouse Sub text line is the way to do that. Again, if you want to join us on our live stream, Robin, David, Anthony, Decor, Jerry, all up and at it with us this morning as we get you up and going. Also, a couple injuries in the NFL, and one that, I just saw this yesterday, Preston, as it pertains to Brock Purdy and having the torn UCL in his elbow.
Never heard of a UCL.
Okay. Didn't have those when you played, did they?
They just made those. When those models come out.
Yeah. It's a brand new for players these days. They're implementing UCLs in the arms.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's a significant injury, one that he'll recover from. As I saw it yesterday, and I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my goodness, the health of the player. But I did actually think like, boy, I'm pretty sure that had to be painful.
Yeah.
I know that he's doing what he can to help his team. He had said, hey, I can't throw the football more than 5 or 6 yards, and they still put him back out there. It's not like, I guess, Tua getting a concussion. I don't know if you're necessarily risking long-term injury to him if you don't throw the football, if he's just handing it off.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it probably wasn't going to get any worse. Maybe the same thing as I said, I've never heard of a UCL, but I know sometimes if you tear your MCL or your PCL in your knee, it's not going to get worse to go back out there. You're obviously not going to be able to perform optimally, but you're not doing any potential long-term damage. Whereas to say if it was a rotator cuff or something where you could do permanent damage, I don't think that was the case. I would like to think that they wouldn't have put him back out there in that situation, but they really didn't have any other options.
No, they legitimately were out of all other options when you say it was kind of crazy what kind of happened to the 49ers with quarterbacks this year. So we'll get into that a little bit, get a former football player's take on that. Again, 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. We'll get you through a couple topics. Again, the Gamecocks taking on Mississippi State over at Colonial Life Arena coming up 6:30 tonight. You can hear the pregame starting right here on 107.5 The Game at 6 o'clock, and then we will shift into game mode at 6:30. The Gamecocks, I've got the numbers in front of me, Preston. They are looking to avoid an all-time bad start to the season through January 31st. Tonight would be would tie the most losses through the month of January for a team overall in the last 21 years. This team trying to be competitive, but even that has been a bit of a problem this year. When you talk about 8 losses this far of 15 or more points overall, that a loss tonight by 15 or more would actually tie the most losses by 15 or more over the last 21 years as well. So a lot there that we can get into. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got a take?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Zach Gelb with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by TaxSlayer. Start filing for free today at TaxSlayer.com. With just the Super Bowl remaining, 30 teams are already in offseason mode. And 2 huge storylines are what's the future of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers looking like. I don't think Brady will retire, and my best guess is he winds up with the Raiders. Now, as for Rodgers, there's been trade speculation for years, but I think this is the offseason Aaron finally gets dealt, and I'll say the Jets will do whatever it takes to execute that trade. I'm Zach Gelb.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Save up to 80% when you file with TaxSlayer. Start for free.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. Well, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. Score points before the big game by getting more from Family Dollar. Save big on everything you need to get the party started, like soft drinks and snacks from Pepsi and Frito-Lay. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced cleaning of Zerorez. Take advantage of their New Year sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details. Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Ryan Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Kale, you've got this gift. Always knowing the truth.
I only know if something is a lie. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Kale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder. You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face, streaming now only on Peacock.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited debt.
All right, felt better. Jen told me the audio was too loud.
Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-767-6464. 800-767-6464. That's 800-767-6464. 1075 traffic, sponsored by South Carolina Department of Corrections. South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officer must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game. Good morning, everyone. Your First Alert Traffic Update. I'm WIS meteorologist Tony Shurburtt. As we keep on into our Tuesday, I haven't seen any major accidents or, of course, anything with main construction going on causing big slowdowns. Something to really take into account and gauge for yourself as you're going throughout this morning. We're still working to see some dense fog clearing up and also dense fog advisory.
Oh, like, did I spill coffee on myself? Yeah, just this morning where I just decided I needed to hit Dunkin' Donuts.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early games with Phil Gunter, and Jim Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. Firehouse Subs text line or on the Love Chevy phone lines. If you want to be a part of the program, as always, again, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the program. Jerry's saying, geez, I got to get some Bernie's fried chicken for lunch now. That's coming off of the discussion. Again, Preston, if you weren't here, I'd probably just mention the Kristen Coggins thing and kind of move forward with it and not really be sure how to explain it. But walk us through that for your time as a college football player and the nutritional aspect of it versus how much you've seen it change and evolve to have someone who's a nutritionist. If Lou Holtz had come to you in his slurred speech, I guess, and said, we got a nutritionist. What would have been the feedback? Because it is something that's a big part of college football now, along with the strength and conditioning program.
First of all, Lou Holtz told me that I would have made a block if the dude had a cheeseburger on him. So that was his guidance on nutrition.
Okay.
But it's changed dramatically. We didn't have nutritionists.
Right.
We had a training table ish on some days, and we went to the Russell House with all the other students, and you would go to Daryl in the pit, and hopefully he hook you up with a double patty melt that you only had to pay for one, and that was about the extent of what nutrition was. We would have winners' meals, we would have losers' meals. So if you won, you get steak and lobster, which was the first time I ever had lobster was in college. If you lost, you would get boiled hot dogs and a bag of chips.
Okay.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that anymore.
Wow.
But that was a thing. But as far as a nutritionist on staff, nah, that didn't exist.
Okay. So as a football player, now you hear that and you think about the guys today. And I mean, granted, again, it's changed dramatically from what, I mean, you didn't have we talk about nutritionists. You didn't even have the Doty for the athlete. I don't know what you got. I know there was something there had to be there for athletics, or if there wasn't, as you continue to shake your head, it was kind of a do it your own kind of thing. But how do you see nutritionists and that fitting in? Because again, there's going to be a lot of people this morning who listen to us talk about this and go, who cares? They're not coaching Spencer Rattler on how to throw the football. They're not drawing up plays to defeat the Georgia defense. But it has become a massive part of college football. South Carolina could go out and I assume higher. I can't even start to put into words what Kristen Coggins meant to the team. Like, I don't know if this was a 5-star nutritionist or the next part. I would assume, I mean, it's become even more in college going to school, like more of a major, I guess you would almost say, like a fitness and health trainer type deal.
Yeah, it's extremely important because as much as sort of the old cliche is that, you can't outwork a bad diet. And even though they're 19, 20 years old, they're full of testosterone and pretty much pumped up on being going through puberty and things of that nature, they still need to have a pretty consistent, healthy diet in order to make themselves perform at their top level. So yeah, you that's how you see the times going up, the people getting stronger, the bodies looking different because they're putting the proper fuel into their body. So it all makes sense as to why this position has evolved in college football. And it's sort of grown with college football. College football has changed. Pretty much our nutrition was, are you eating? Are you eating enough? It would be for the defensive backs, are y'all eating? Because somehow they forget to eat, which never had that problem. And then for the linemen, y'all eating too much. Stop eating. And that was essentially the gist of what nutrition was at that time.
I think it was DJU this year, quarterback who was at Clemson, and I was watching one of the games, and it might have been the South Carolina game, I can't remember. They said he had dropped, I think, about 25 pounds in the offseason. One of the things, and again, I don't know if this is just discipline or if this is a nutritionist stepping in, but simply saying, all right, past 10 o'clock, no more snacks. Like you kind of mentioned it, you lived with a bunch of linemen. I would imagine that there was competition at 1 a.m. around the snack counter in the dorm room over, a bag of chips or cookies or something. It's interesting again, because to me, it circles back, not just with the transfer portal, not just with name, image, likeness, but it kind of is what college football is today. And it's what Shane Beamer and Dabo Swinney and Kirby Smart, Nick Saban are running $1 million companies, essentially with 85 to more employees, in terms of not just how you perform on the field, but how you take care of your body away from the field.
Yeah, and it becomes it's part of the job. It's part of the whole deal. You take care of your body. That includes how you treat your body, what you put into your body at all times. So it is extremely, extremely important, and it's become a new part of what college football is. So this is when I keep getting to the idea of, we want the old college football back. That is not a thing anymore. The old football that you fell in love with, there weren't any nutritionists back then. There wasn't any specifically designed diet plans for each particular player and tutorials on how to cook. I saw them cooking whitefish, and they're cooking like actual vegetables, not frozen vegetables, which I probably would have had back then. So it's just a different time, and obviously Kristen was the spearhead of that, and apparently her services are needed, and more, because I looked up some numbers.
Okay.
And talk about an NIL deal. Whoa.
Well, give us the numbers.
Well, Bill, I know you love working at 107.5 The Game.
They have great people I work with. The bosses here are phenomenal. They gave me Jen to work with for many a year. So, okay.
Jen, I know you love working at 107.5 The Game, correct?
Absolutely. 100%.
However, if they were to give you, I don't know, a potentially $100,000 increase, would you be open to considering other options?
I'm always open.
I think you're not wise if you don't entertain those options.
As you stated so eloquently last Thursday, we're always open to tampering.
Yeah,
always open. So just looking from the salary database, from what I was sort of gathering, because you try to figure out, okay, why did that get done? But from what I previously saw, Kristen her salary was somewhere in the range of last year, based on South Carolina database. She was making $153,000, great salary, but also commiserate with what her position is in the university as far as feeding the team. The last Nebraska nutritionist who left that job was making $266,000.
I need to learn to cook. Bottom line.
So I don't know if she's going to get that, but if you're thinking, I don't know, if I was going into the job and said, oh, what did the last person make? It seems like it's a simple decision.
It was last night in just talking with people, and I think it was John Whittle who reported to thebigspur.com that she got a significant raise to go to Nebraska. Now, that will take us down another path that we're not going to go to this morning. We'll get into something else coming up in the next segment. But, if you're going to run these programs, if you're going to have a big boy football program, so to speak, you've got to not be just willing to pay for your head football coach and for your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator and so forth and so on. It has to extend down the line to have the best of the best helping your players away from the field.
Absolutely. And I know in normal society, it's sort of impolite to discuss people's salaries. I get that. But we have no problem discussing how much a player might potentially be getting in an NIL deal. And I think everybody who was involved with the university, whether it's the head coach, we know how much Shane makes, we know how much the coordinators make. And I think it's fair for us to have a conversation about how much these support staff people are making and give us an idea of the decisions and why they're making. Again, commiserate, fair with the job that she's doing, and she's by all means done a wonderful job. But I do think it's important for everybody to sort of understand the money that is involved in these decisions.
Wow.
And it's the money that is now going into running a college football program. And then that leads to the bigger picture of these new television deals that are coming in, to conference realignment. All this equals back to the money now that a program brings in and how you have to disperse it, not just, again, to the head football coach and the coordinators. And, again, I think he's further down the list, but a recent Alabama offensive coordinator kind of board that had Freddie Kitchens listed on it. Now, he was further down the list, and it doesn't appear like he's going to be the guy, but you talk about somebody who's on your support staff, who's at least on the board potentially for Nick Saban in that offensive coordinator position. And again, Freddie Kitchens as an analyst is not doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He's made plenty of money in the NFL and maybe doesn't need the massive salary that he's had. But it is interesting because as we're talking about this morning right now, Kristen Coggins, the nutritionist, leaving. And again, to me, what you just brought up, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if Georgia Tech has a great nutritionist or Florida and who you can go hire and what they were making and how you do it. But it is all part of your football staff these days, and getting these guys in their best peak physical condition to then hand them over to Luke Day for the winter workouts, which are going on, which then translates to the spring practice and then the fall camp, and being ready to go for the 12 games you get from September to the end of November. So it's all really interesting, but that's just a good glimpse into college football. Still kind of interesting. We'll get into a little bit of the maybe some of the text messages you got.
I have received 2 very insightful text messages about Bernie Gate.
All right, we'll get to those. We'll also look ahead to tonight's basketball game over at Colonial Life Arena, South Carolina and Mississippi State. We got a lot to get to this morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text WINDOW to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $300.
You better make 100,000 more.
Better be able to roll around.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Unless she's from there, unless she's from the Midwest or something like that, it would make it. To that point, yeah, you'd have to pay me pretty well. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. It has to be substantial.
Save 10% promo code the game, all caps in one word. Again, 10% off by using the promo code the game, all caps. It's United Way at the Midlands Driving Down Main Virtual Golf Tournament, February 6th and 7th at the Players Club, 1626 Main Street. Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate. Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete.
Robin, on our live stream, so I got the volume on. Robin says, does the athletic department need an educational coordinator? Could use a salary increase. Yeah. So she graduated from Tennessee. She's from Tennessee.
She's gonna have plenty of access to
She's part of
corn
the
now.
Lady Vols rowing team.
She's a registered dietitian.
First time I've ever actually looked at her right there.
You wouldn't have been able to pick her out.
No, I would have had zero clue.
The shake-up in the food nutrition college football world.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sure if you think about some people's phones are buzzing. Like, South Carolina jobs coming over. I imagine it's a good. Looks like it's a good job. I would imagine.
I mean,
I was gonna go get somebody.
this is actually probably where people will get mad now at Ray Tanner and be like, you know, this is why we'll never win at football. We're not willing to match the salary of Nebraska for the nutritionist.
No thank you. That's it. No thank you. We're gonna. We feel that we can use our resources. Yeah, that's one of those where I guess she walks into the office and she tells you the deal and you're just like, well, we appreciate your time. All you need to do is best for your family and see you later.
So if I cook breakfast that is healthful for the two of you, will I get a
She's right here on the live
increase?
stream. By cooked breakfast, what now? I mean, what exactly is cooking breakfast for you? Because to be honest, if you bring a box of donuts once a week, I don't know if that's helpful, but
No, I mean it would have to be like, eggs with vegetables in it and all. I mean, I
Jen,
could
what was the
learn to
last
cook
thing you
real
cooked?
fast. Of course, I'd need $150,000 just to afford the eggs, but
What? Yeah, sure. What was the last thing you cooked?
me,
Yeah,
I fixed for a meal. Well, I made tuna fish at my mom's house.
What was it?
tuna fish.
Yeah.
So, Jen cooks like she's still in college.
Right now, as disjointed as my house is and my life has been, I haven't really cooked a whole bunch, but hoping to get back to it.
Now, when was the last time you used a edger or a power blower or what's another heavy duty yard tool?
Yeah, I haven't been out in the yard too much, but I'm kind of twitching to get out there because stuff is needing to be shaped up.
Well, I think it's gonna be right. It's supposed to rain a good bit.
Yeah.
Eight 803-404-6100. That's how you can join the program. If you want to weigh in this morning, tonight, Colonial Life Arena, South Carolina hosts Mississippi State, Preston. And, we're at that point in the season. South Carolina, this is actually the crazy thing about basketball. South Carolina's still in the postseason hunt, technically. This is the old argument that if John Calipari recruited 6 one-and-dones, and they were all suspended for the regular season for, numerous violations, but they come back for the SEC tournament. They come back, and because they're 6 one-and-dones and they can play with anybody and they win the SEC tournament.
So we're taking technically to the furthest extent.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll test your South Carolina still could win the SEC tournament and make the NCAA tournament. I was there the year that Georgia back 06, 07, whatever it was in the Georgia Dome, and you had the tornado that hit the Georgia Dome, and Georgia that year was like an 11-19 team or 12-18, something ridiculous, and made the run and knocked off actually I think Arkansas in the championship game, and that was under Dennis Felton. Went to the NCAA tournament, but so technically South Carolina could still make the NCAA tournament. But one thing that has to happen is they've got to improve. Well, I think that's what we're looking for, right? Like, I don't know, you look at tonight and South Carolina, 2 of the losses in SEC play, both of them have been on the road, by the way, but 2 of the losses have been in overtime. It's the games at home where they've just been destroyed. They haven't been competitive. And tonight you get Mississippi State coming into town. Mississippi State led by first-year head coach and Chris Jans. Chris Jans coming over, got the Bulldogs off to a great start. They were ranked at one point. Now they've gotten into conference play, and they're 1-7, 13-8 overall. South Carolina, LSU, Mississippi, and Mississippi State all 1-7 in conference. So this would be a game that you look at and go, man, for a confidence standpoint, for a growth standpoint, you'd really like to have this one.
Of course you would like to have. You want to win any game. And as you said, it's been less than impressive at home, which when you're building a program, it's one thing to go out on the road and get blown out, but you kind of want to show your fans a reason to come back to the games and be in the buildings. And so yesterday we started the conversation of, well, what could improve? What can improve? If we're not going to improve, the talent's not going to improve in the middle of the season. You're not getting any new players. Nobody's coming. What could they actually do to improve this team for this game to give them a better chance of winning?
Using the nutritionist theme that we just had, the ingredients that you have are what you're cooking
what
with
you
now,
got.
right? You're not adding, a knockdown shooter now on Jay. This isn't the NBA where you can go hit the free agency or make a trade. That's what makes it hard, because I thought more and more about our conversation yesterday about Meechie Johnson and what you do. Because in order for South Carolina to win, we saw it against Auburn. G.G. Jackson can go out and have 30 and be fantastic and look every part the lottery pick that he's expected to be. Hayden Brown last game gave you his best SEC performance to date. Maybe because of the competition, gave you his best performance of the year, 17 points and 10 rebounds. And it wasn't enough. I look at it, and again, the numbers are becoming kind of, maybe, I don't know what point you say they're staggering. Meechie Johnson.
We're here.
Yeah, is that where at this point in SEC play, Meechie Johnson is shooting 22.8% from 3-point range, 16 of 60. And in the last 4 games from the field, just shooting the ball from anywhere on the floor, Meechie Johnson is 12 of 53. That's 22.6%. I thought going into the season that G.G. Jackson could be a really good player, that Chico Carter Jr. could have a nice night. You get something from the post. But if Meechie Johnson didn't perform, you weren't going to win. And at this point in SEC play, the singular night he has performed, South Carolina has won the game. Again, GG is really good. He's going to be a lottery pick. I hope he goes on to an incredible NBA career. But right now, for South Carolina to win, it's Meechie Johnson. And that's why, going back to our conversation yesterday, I don't think you put the red light on him. Maybe you beg of him to step closer to the 3-point line or to attack a little bit more. But I don't think you scare him into overthinking his shot selection.
So you're relying on hope, and hope is never a great strategy, right? You can't rely on, well, we hope that he performs the way he did with a month ago now. That's not necessarily going to be a strategy. But as you said, you're in a quandary, because it seems as if the only direct path towards victory is for Meechie Johnson to have one of those types of nights. Is there a way that they can win where Meechie Johnson doesn't, maybe he's not lights out like Kentucky, but just improves his game, maybe takes better shots, maybe makes a few more shots, maybe he's a little bit more. Is that a path to victory? Or are you saying that the only path to victory is Meechie being lights out?
2 of the last 3 victories, and they were semi-impressive victories. Western Kentucky is not one that I necessarily just sneeze at. Western Kentucky and Rick Stansbury are 11-11 on the season, so they're not great. But in the victory over Western Kentucky at home and the victory over Kentucky, Meechie had 26 against Kentucky. He had 25 against Western Kentucky. In both of those games, oddly enough, Western Kentucky and Kentucky, he hit 6 3-pointers. Against Western Kentucky, he was 6 of 11. Against Kentucky, he was 6 of 10. The other victory in this stretch for South Carolina is a win over Eastern Michigan, who's really bad. He played 31 minutes. He was 1 of 7 in that game, just 10 points. But again, that was a really bad opponent. Mississippi State did knock off at home in Starkville, did knock off TCU, who was ranked 11th over the weekend in overtime, 81-74. Mississippi State's not an awful team. They're not as good as a lot of the other SEC teams, But just to, again, give you 2 out of the last 3 games that South Carolina has won, and this dates back to Christmas, okay? December 22nd, South Carolina has won just 2 games during this, or excuse me, 3 games, Eastern Michigan the third. But in 2 of those games, Preston, Michie Johnson had 25 against Western Kentucky and 26. So to answer your question, if I'm just looking at the hard numbers right in front of me, I feel I'm going to kind of tell you that I don't know of much of a path other than Michie Johnson having a very solid night. And by the way, against Western Kentucky from the field, 8 of 16. So he's 50% from the field. And again, that Kentucky game, 9 of 16, 56% in that game.
Okay. All right. So that gives me a little bit better idea of how this team can get towards victory. So now I think you go to Michie and you say, look, this is the correlation. When you do this, we can do this. Now, the way that you do this is by not taking 35-footers or not settling for bad shots. Maybe if you coax him into making him feel like, look, you're really the engine of this team. We go as you go. Take care of the ball. I'm not going to give you still have the green light because you're our guy. But in consideration of that, when you do X, Y, and Z, we are infinitely better. I think there's a way that you can kind of coax that now with coaching.
The true outlier of those numbers, the true outlier is South Carolina's got 2 great victories this year, Clemson and Kentucky. Now, Clemson, Michie was hurt. He had gotten injured against South Carolina State, but in the Clemson victory, South Carolina did only score 60 points. They won that one defensively, 60-58, but he was 1 of 6 from three-point range, 1 of 8 from the field as a whole, just 3 points, and he played 31 minutes, so it wasn't limited action. So if you want the outlier to what I just gave you, it is your other great victory on the season over Clemson came with a non-existent offensive performance from Michie Johnson. And then again, in that game, South Carolina won it more defensively by holding Clemson to 58.
Well, if I'm the coach, it's my job to selectively ignore any statistical evidence.
The outlier.
We're going to get rid of that.
Okay.
Because Michie's not paying attention to that anyway. I'm going to give him the facts of saying, hey, when you play well, we have a chance to win. When you don't play well, we're not very successful. You have the green light. Be careful with the ball. Take care of it. Take care of the shots that you're going to take. And let's go get a victory based on what you do tonight.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. We'll wrap up our number 1 of the Tuesday morning edition of the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Discover. We could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards. Or we could talk about how with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your, so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Go farther with better fuel efficiency. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com. Hey, Gamecock and Tiger fans, do you like a bargain? Of course you do. Gamecock Traditions and Tiger Traditions want you to know about their 30% off all apparel sale. Tees, sweats, golf shirts, even shoes are all 30% off this week. Shop online at GamecockTraditions.com or TigerTraditions.com or go by either location, 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington or in Sand Hills Village by the fountain. Hurry for the best selection. Gamecock Traditions and Tiger Traditions 30% off apparel sale going on now.
At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. They make our subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. That's why they're bringing back their daily medium sub special for just $7.99. Enjoy a different handcrafted medium sub at a special price for every day of the week. Like today's Tuesday special, the Turkey Bacon Ranch sub for just $7.99. Get it for a limited time only at Firehouse Subs. Order now with Rapid Rescue at firehousesubs.com.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Good morning, everyone. With your First Alert Traffic Update, I'm WIS meteorologist Tony Shurburtt. As we keep on into our Tuesday, haven't seen any major accidents or, of course, anything with main construction going on causing big slowdowns. Something to really take into account and gauge for yourselves as you're going throughout this morning. We're still working to see some dense fog clearing up, and also from the National Weather Service, a dense fog advisory in effect for the region until 10 this morning. For your First Alert Traffic Weather Update, I'm meteorologist Tony Shurburtt.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines real quick. 803-404-6100. Mike wants to weigh in this morning on men's basketball. Mike, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good. Hey, I was listening to y'all. So I don't know exactly. Obviously, I don't have a surefire recipe for men's basketball to win. But I have a couple suggestions. First of all, I'd like to see Daniels taking Sanford in the game. But he's very athletic. I think you got to find ways to get him in there. I mean, Bozeman Verdant, I know he's got experience, but he just hasn't been effective down low. And I just think you got to give Hank and Sanford some playing time. He even tried Trayvon Minot. I mean, Trayvon Minot is big. I mean, put him in there. Maybe get you some rebounds. And then here's my next point. So we all know Meechie Johnson. He has not been, reliable. But why not give Eli Sparkman a try? I mean, the man can shoot. I mean, maybe he'll catch fire, and maybe you can get that guy you need to shoot three-pointers and get some points. I mean, y'all, I know it's a crazy idea, but, I mean, why not? We're already losing, and, we can't get any worse.
Appreciate the phone call, Mike. Yeah, I mean, Preston, that's kind of what we hinted at a little bit. Look, I will say this, in terms of Hank and Sanford, I'm with him. A young kid, young guy who I think has a chance to continue to develop. I will say this. I think there is a fine line that Lamont Paris walks, and I'd like to get into this with Preston maybe more in the 8 o'clock hour. J.C. Shurburtt coming up next. But when you talk about some of these young guys, Hankins Sanford and Zachary Davis in particular, I don't think you worry quite as much about G.G. Jackson because you know where he's going. He's off to the NBA. But in situations like this, putting them out there and letting their confidence get crushed earlier in their career, I think it's easy to say, well, you're a good player. You'll bounce back. South Carolina landed early on in Frank's tenure a very good player in Demetrius Henry, who I thought could be a ride. Watched him in AAU, covered him, thought he could be a really good player. Got put out there early, lost his confidence and never regained it.
Yeah. I would love to have that discussion coming back on the other side.
We'll get into that a little bit. J.C. Shurburtt set to join us in the 7 o'clock hour here. We'll get into some football recruiting with him, talk a little basketball as well. Lot to do this morning as we roll along. It's the Tuesday morning episode of the early game. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. You're listening to 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced cleaning of Zerorez. Take advantage of their New Year sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
I'm Martin Hope, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code HOT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code HOT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HOT.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the power of Love Chevrolet. While the other dealers are scrambling for slick new catchphrases, we're doubling down on who we are and what we do. Honesty, transparency, and utmost integrity. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game
with Bill Gunter.
We are food lovers on this program. That's why I work out.
This is part of the reason I felt like I was home.
We are food lovers. One of the big, great debates of our time has been bacon. Is bacon allowed to be microwaved? Microwave bacon, yes or no?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
That's a firm no.
Okay,
Oh.
good. He said, yeah, there we go.
That's a firm and executive no.
And Jen Jensen.
Will you bake it?
That's been my preferred method as I've gotten older, and I'm wondering why my parents, my grandmother, why didn't I know there's a certain appeal to cooking it in the skillet, but it just feel like you just throw it in the oven and then it's done.
In the summertime, though, if you're turning on the oven, then it's kind of heating up the house and stuff like that.
At my grandfather's house, they didn't need any help making the house any hotter because there was only one air conditioner in a room, and the house was just ablaze from about 10 o'clock through the rest of the day.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
$7:02 on your Tuesday morning, the final day of January. Boy, Preston, I feel like 2023 is going to absolutely fly by. I feel like January is always you're coming off the holidays, and normally it's colder than it's been. It's just kind of miserable, but it feels like January is just zipped by. And today we wrap up the month of January and we head into Valentine's month next month.
Already gone. That somehow I was looking through my pictures for January. I didn't even have that many pictures. I don't know what happened this month. It came and went.
That's right. Came and went. And it leads us
as long as we're here with it. So we're cool.
Leads us right into tomorrow, which will be National Signing Day, February the 1st. And joining us now to discuss that a little bit from thebigspur.com, good buddy, JC Shurburtt. And JC, you and I, we've talked about it a little bit this month. We talked about it back in December. It's for guys like us. I feel like there's still an adjustment period to this being signing day. Preston signed in February back many moons ago. And tomorrow we know South Carolina will sign one player in Elijah Caldwell, the wide receiver out of Northwestern High School. The one that everybody will have their attention paid to will be that of Nicholas Harbor, the 5-star tight end athlete out of the D.C. area. And I know that'll have you on your toes tomorrow trying to kind of figure out early on what the decision will be.
Oh, yeah, it's a down-to-the-wire decision. I think that, South Carolina has as good of a shot as anybody else, maybe a little bit better based on behind-the-scenes intel heading into this week. But, nothing would surprise me with there. And the thing I like about it, Bill, is sometimes you go into a decision and you say nothing would surprise me. And, the kids committed to 5 different schools and decommitted and, situations. There was a player from California a few years ago that had committed to 5 different places. And then all of a sudden, randomly, he just signs with UCLA. That wasn't one of the 5. And of course, he didn't work out too well. You have situations like Brew McCoy, who finally found a home at Tennessee this year, but, literally went to Texas, came back, tried to go back, and then kind of went back to Southern Cal. And I guess it's California kids mostly, but, we've had some guys through the years in South Carolina. Sam Montgomery comes to mind. Lateef Townsend comes to mind. But, Antonio Clay that went to Clemson many moons ago. That sort of, I honestly don't think they knew where they wanted to go, and they just loved the process. And that's one type of nobody knows. This is a different type of nobody knows, though. I think Nick Harbor and his family have evaluated everything the right way. He hasn't really given any of the schools false hope. He's not a kid that's committed a bunch of places, hadn't committed at all. It's going to be an interesting decision coming down to the wire. I know that, as far as the other recruits in the class go, Nick Harbor's probably, that would be in favor of South Carolina because he's friends with all of them. Very comfortable with Shane Beamer as a head coach. Shane, I think, was one of the first people to offer him way back when he was in Oklahoma as an assistant. So that relationship is strong, but these things always come down to comfort level. And, the question becomes, are those relationships enough to where, South Carolina has the ultimate comfort level with the kid, because different things impact comfort level, winning, track program, all that good stuff. But I think the Gamecocks feel good if they get him. That's a heck of a haul from D.C., Maryland, man. Man, I never thought Carolina's gotten some guys out of Virginia in the past, and there is a history there. I mean, every now and then there'll be a guy from Maryland. Josh Brown, the kicker from Spurrier era, is from Maryland. Gonzie Gray, who was a running back during the Holtz era, was from Waldorf, Maryland. Of course, the great Jeff Grants was from Maryland back in the day. But that hasn't necessarily been a pipeline area for the Gamecocks. And if you're talking about going up there and landing a 4-star DN and Desmond Umeozulu, a 4-star offensive tackle, and Big Tree Babalade, a 5-star athlete, and Nick Harbor, and then a really good 3-star safety in Zabari Sandy. That's 4 key guys. I think around here we talk all the time about, oh gosh, you're not recruiting North Carolina all that well, but who cares? Because if you can get 4 stars out of Georgia and you can get these guys out of the DMV, I don't know that you need all those players out of North Carolina if you're South Carolina to build a competitive roster in this league. So it would be big. And then I think you land him, I think that sends a message up in the D.C. area too, to some of these guys coming down the pipe, like Braylon Lee and Dylan Stewart and the guys for 2024 they're in on. So it would be a pretty massive deal to get Harbor. What would that be? The 3rd 5-star they've signed since Spurrier left, and only the 5th since the beginning of the Spurrier era, because you had Lattimore, you had Clowney, and then you had Jordan Birch, Zach Pickens, and then Harbor would be the 5th. There hadn't been very many 5-star football players to come to South Carolina. There's been guys that have played like it when they've gotten, on into the NFL and things like that. But as far as, landing 5-star talent at a high school, particularly out of state, I think this may be, Bill, the first out-of-state 5-star in the modern recruiting era that they've signed. I know Chris Culliver was on Rivals, but, if you kind of went back in time and, did the composite thing, he wasn't. So this would be the first consensus 5-star from out of state, I think, they've ever signed. So in the modern recruiting era, I know Derek Little and some guys like that probably would have been back in the day, but so it would be send a big message, I think, not only for South Carolina's national recruiting efforts, but that nice little pocket of talent up there in Maryland, D.C. And I mean, man, Penn State's made a living up there through the years. Ohio State, all those Big Ten schools recruit that area. I think it's one of the reasons they're happy Maryland came in the league. But it would be a very nice cherry on top of a already awesome Sunday. How about that?
It would be certainly would be a big pickup. I think the next question will be, and let me ask Preston this. Preston, during your time playing, because the one thing about Nicholas Harbor that people are going to talk about, this is an Olympic. This isn't just a track kid. This is an elite worldwide track guy. I mean, I think he has aspirations of running in Paris in the 2024 Olympics. I mean, there is some of this. Preston, what do you remember about true two-sport athletes during your time? Because that's going to be I've seen some of it on the message boards where people go, okay, well, hey, man, track might be his thing. That might be his overall riding sport. How hard is it for guys to be able to do what they need to at the SEC, the college football level, while also having another sport that they're completely elite at?
It's very difficult. When I was in school, first off, JC, shout out. Thank you for shouting out my guy, Gonzie Gray, and Josh Brown, my guys. I haven't heard those names mentioned in a while, but those are my dudes. But in that same class period, DeAndre Island was a world-class sprinter. And eventually he just ended up focusing on football and had a very successful football career where he ended up being a freshman All-American, and that sort of laid his path for him. That being said, it does get really difficult to be able to dedicate the amount of time you need to each sport in order for you to be successful at either one, especially when you start talking about track, and if he's running hurdles and things of that nature, that does take a lot of effort and dedication.
I was going to ask you real quick, do you think it's harder for a track athlete as opposed to like Stone Blanton is not going to play baseball? JC, I'm right on this. Stone Blanton will not participate with Mark Kingston's baseball program this coming spring. Are we right on that? He's got the shoulder injury and he's just going to focus on football and spring practice?
Yeah, getting ready for football. But, and that's the baseball. I think baseball's a little harder. Preston will remember Sheldon Brown played baseball.
Absolutely.
And he did a really good job. He was actually really, really good. He's one of the football guys that really did a good job in baseball. But, you got to make the team in baseball too. And, I don't know if Stone, given the players they had back, I'm sure he'd have made it, but, I think that's a wise decision, and I think he'll revisit it. And to your point, I think it's easier to do when you're older, after you've been in college for a while and you've gotten used to it. But, track, it kind of goes hand in hand. I remember way back in the day when I played football, the coaches, because I wasn't a baseball guy, I'd go from football to basketball, and then they had me go run track one day. And believe me, it helps your football quite a bit. But so they kind of go hand in hand. But Preston's right. You get into stuff like hurdles and things like that. And this isn't just a guy that's running track. This is a guy that has Olympic aspirations, and you've really got to train a lot for that. I think as far as football goes, don't overcomplicate it. Because if he can catch the football at all, people ask him what position he's going to play. I just say he's playing touchdown. Because you're not going to catch him. If he gets the ball in space, you're not going to catch him. So I would just think don't overcomplicate it for him his first year, that kind of thing, and let him go do his thing. And like I said, hands are a question mark, but if he can catch it and they can coach him up in that part of it, like I said, he's going to be playing touchdown.
Yeah, as much as we would love to say it, football is probably the least skilled of those sports. Even when you think about track, especially if you're doing jumping, it's all about your steps and counting, and there's a lot of repetition and training that needs to be happening. And as JC just said, if we're talking about football, whether we're just going to line them up wide and throw the fade to them, tell them to run a straight, run a post and do this, or are you going to line them up at the end and just say, you go get him? There's a lot of ways you can simplify football that you can't do with baseball, basketball, or even track, I believe.
803-404-6100. We'll continue to get into this. I do want to ask JC's opinion on, because you get a 5-star, and the last 5-star that South Carolina got, a lot of people say, well, you didn't get the performance out of him in Jordan Birch. So I've become one of those people that's be hesitant to place too much pressure on one guy. So I want to get JC's take on that. And then also, even though he was a 3-star, we'll get Preston's take on what it's like coming to college with those kind of aspirations, especially again nowadays. Also get JC's take on the Christian Coggins situation. A lot to do this morning as we're rolling along. You're listening to Preston Thorne. He's JC Shurburtt, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. We got a full house this morning. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
Hey, this is Preston here for Integrated Media. And again, like we always tell you, get your outdoors ready for the spring and summer. Make sure your summer terrace TVs are waterproof and that your Sonos outdoor speakers are ready for TV and music. You can get Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. And as most importantly, as I always say, you can control all your devices from just one remote. The most important aspect, in my opinion, because I have 5 remotes that I cannot figure out what goes to what on any given day. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
This is Zach Gelb with the CBS Sports Minute. Hassan Reddick was a walk-on at Temple. He eventually got drafted 13th overall by the Cardinals. Reddick, the last 3 years, registered double-digit sacks with 3 different teams. Hassan is having a career year in year 1 as an Eagle with 19.5 sacks. And wouldn't it be the perfect story if the hometown kid brings a Super Bowl MVP trophy back to Philly in 2 weeks? And with the way he's been dominating, I expect that to happen. I'm Zach Gelb.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. Order online and pick up curbside at your local store. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Every pro is an MVP to us. As a Lowe's MVP's Rewards member, you can earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Then redeem them for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, e-gift cards, and more. Join today to become a member and start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any, subject to program terms while supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB, 800-391-5063 for your free consultation and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Sponsored by Lowe's. Save on appliances and more at the Truckload event at Lowe's. Get an additional 10% off all in-store clearance appliances and take home what you buy same day. Shop the Truckload event today. Exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Valid 1/5 to 2/8.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Metz Plumbing is growing and looking for exceptional plumbers and apprentices. If you enjoy helping people in our community, if you want a flexible work schedule, if you're looking to earn $85,000 to $100,000 per year, plus benefits and paid time off, if you want free training in order to become a licensed plumber, and if you're ready for a rewarding career as part of a family, then we want to talk to you. For information, call Tammy at 732-TRIP or apply online at metzplumbing.com.
732-TRIP.
The Hook and Ladder has been a Firehouse Subs original since day one. It's piled high with Virginia honey ham, smoked turkey breast, and melted Monterey Jack. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. That's why at Firehouse Subs, they don't just make subs, they make subs that are big, bold, and craveable. They make their subs differently because their subs make a difference. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
If I had to name the top 5 Yankee killers, first one, George Brett.
Yeah.
Number 2, Edgar Martinez. Manny Ramirez. Altuve's a current Yankee killer to the point where we're talking about buzzers and whatever, and because we're trying to figure out how and why. But Devers, he's got that on his resume, pal.
Yeah, 19 home runs in 87 games.
Lord.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
7:21 on a Tuesday morning. Preston Thorne, who at some point we're going to get him on camera for the live stream. He's got to do some things for himself. Jen and I can't carry him the entire time. He's got to bring his own iPad or bring a computer or something to get himself on camera.
Hey, he at least turns his mic on, which is, something you didn't do when you first came in here. He kind of looked at me like, excuse me. I need my
If you would pay
microphone
better
turned
attention
on.
to the program, you would realize that there's already been twice this morning that I've started talking without turning my mic on. So,
Well, I know, but that's just, at this point, it's just you're not thinking.
Not
It
even-
wasn't maybe expected
you don't
that
even pay attention to what I'm doing now, let alone what I was
Yeah,
doing
good-
6 years ago.
Yeah, good
so,
point. Good point.
Anyway,
We'll get Preston all acclimated. There's a lot to take in.
Slow
It is.
walk. Slow walk.
Absolutely.
Slow. Gotta crawl before you walk. Speaking of crawling before you walk, I think it now becomes a legitimate question, JC and Preston. You get this kid coming in, 6'5", 225 pounds. JC says he plays touchdown because we know he's got speed. He's an Olympic sprinter. I mean, this is a kid that, guys, you talk about publicity. Just hypothetically, he may never score a touchdown for South Carolina if he were to commit, but he could go win it is a dead serious point. He could go win a gold medal in Paris in 2024 and earn just as much publicity for South Carolina running Olympics the way things are as he could making a big touchdown against Georgia or Clemson. Do you guys disagree with that? Like that, I don't think you can understate just how good of a track athlete he is, JC, correct?
No. I mean, he's a freak. I mean, he's to be as big as he is and as fast as he is. I mean, those guys, his times are kind of in line with guys that do qualify for the Olympic team. So yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those things where I think it's always up to debate when you're talking about a two-sport athlete that's that good at another sport besides football, like we discussed earlier. And the question about what position and all that good stuff. I mean, it's a fair debate, but you don't. I mean, you want that kid to come to your school. I mean, period. I mean, it's for a number of reasons, and not the least of which is what talked about earlier about the increased momentum in what's becoming a pretty critical area for the Gamecocks in recruiting up there in D.C. and Maryland. Some people ask me, well, what's different about how Beamer's recruiting than maybe Will Muschamp? And I thought Will Muschamp recruited pretty good. But Muschamp and Spurrier both sort of stuck in that whole, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia area, which is the primary base. But, you've got issues in North Carolina that have been lingering for a while. If you're the Gamecocks, most of the kids up there, the really elite ones want to go to a name brand school, and then the rest are kind of NC State, North Carolina these days. So it's tough. In South Carolina historically has gotten 3 or 4 from up there. So you got to go elsewhere. And, arguably, if you get this kid, I mean, I don't know that they could have signed a haul out of North Carolina with, this many highly regarded, decorated guys. And so, it just makes all the sense in the world for this to be a big deal. And the football part of it and all that, they'll figure it out. That's why they coach. They got to figure out how to use their best players and best athletes. But certainly, I think too, when you look at what's missing in the receiving core specifically, they say maybe a tight end. I don't know. I think he may be a receiver early on. They're kind of missing that big jump ball guy. Omega Blake could be that guy, maybe. I think Xavier Legette could be that guy, maybe. But they're not 6'5". I mean, they're about 6'2", 6'2.5", bigger bodied kids. So, if he can jump up and get it and get behind the defense, I mean, I think he could be a really good receiver. And I'll mention another guy from Preston's era that was also tall and fast, James Atkinson. You remember that guy? He unfortunately had some drops during his career that people remember, but that guy was a freak. He was a freak athlete. And that kind of bigger guy that is fast and can go up and get it. And that's kind of how I see Harbor, maybe working out at least early is that kind of guy.
Yeah, to speak on Akbone, James was tremendous athlete, and yeah, he struggled at the university. He had a couple of drops, and he never quite reached his potential while he was here. But because of all of his measurables, he went on to play in the NFL for maybe 7 or 8 years, and he just sort of bounced around because he was just there wasn't many people like him.
People forget if he doesn't make a catch against Mississippi State over Fred Smoot down the right in front of the South Carolina sideline. I think it was a 3rd down play, and Petty put one up, just kind of a jump ball, and he went up and out jumped Fred Smoot, who was the big time defensive back.
Yeah.
Eric Kimry probably doesn't get a chance to throw that fade. That was a huge play. I was a freshman that year, and that had been a wild day. Derek Watson had run a kickback that had been called back for a holding, and South, you guys had trailed all day long. But to that point now, I think it was the following year, maybe 2 years later, he dropped one at LSU that would have put y'all on the goal line with a chance to go up 21-3. That was a Nick Saban team that was gearing up for a national championship run the next year, but Atkinson dropped one down at the goal line that probably if he catches, y'all go up 21-3, and you probably run LSU out of the building that day. Instead, he dropped it. It was 14-3. LSU got going in the second half. They had a pick 6 on Pinkins, and that was when I realized going to the true Death Valley at night was an entirely different animal than any other environment I'd ever been to in my life.
Yeah, they definitely turned the volume up.
I was in the end zone at Bama in 2002, and I think he had an unfortunate drop there. Maybe he caught that one. I don't remember. My memory's getting bad. It's 22 years ago, guys. I'm surprised I remember these names, but obviously, those teams were a lot of fun to watch. I was in school at the time down there, and man, that 2000 team, 2000 was just an exciting season overall, and. Yeah, I just remember James, and if people are kind of looking for a measurables comparison to Nick Harbor, I think it's probably pretty fair. Maybe Jared Cook a little bit, but I definitely think that some kind of role like that on offense would be good. And you mentioned rushing the passer too. I'm intrigued by that as well. I just don't know if he's going to get big enough to be an every down guy, but maybe a passer. Maybe he goes both ways. Who knows? He's that good of an athlete to handle it, like as Preston said, if they simplify and make it, make it easy for him, which I think they can. I think there's a lot of usage you can get out of that guy.
Is it Preston as a defensive lineman? Is it that easy to just all right? It's 3rd and 11. Nick, go out there and go get the quarterback. That quarterback, like, is it that easy, or if they were to use him both ways as a tight end the majority of the time, but in key pass rushing downs, or is there more to it on the defensive line where it's not just, hey, tackle the man with the ball?
Yeah, it is that easy.
Okay,
for a guy with that type of athletic talent, it could be that easy. You can simplify it enough to say, hey, we're not worried about you. Holding contain, we're going to cover you up. We're not going to make you drop into the thirds, or we're not going to make you do anything. You see ball, you get ball on 3rd down. That can be a thing for sure.
Would it be easier for him if they wanted to? Now, again, we'll find out tomorrow. He'll make his announcement tomorrow morning. Shane Beamer's got a press conference tomorrow at 2:00. I believe we'll carry right here on 107.5 The Game. It'll be his kind of other recruiting his other signing day press conference. But given that there's not a lot to talk about, it might be more of a pre-spring type press conference. But in that situation, is it easier, Preston, to have him standing up more like an edge guy, or to put his hand in the dirt where you can come off? I obviously never played defensive end given my size.
Yeah, it'd be wherever he feels the most comfortable, wherever he feels like he can be the most comfortable, most athletic, and most fluid. I think about, people probably remember, but he wasn't a world-class sprinter, but John Abraham had tremendous speed coming off the edge, and he eventually turned himself into a football player. He didn't even have a lot of experience even playing football by the time he came here, but he turned himself into that. And I don't know if Nick is that type of player, or if he leans more offensive as far as mentality is concerned. But as far as the physical tools, yeah, you can set that up very easily and say, you line up here, you do this, and we can figure everything else out.
We'll move on to other topics. Kristen Coggins and also Xavier Harvey. Go ahead.
Really quickly. I know that track is we've talked about track and his world class speed. With South Carolina having a pretty impressive amount of Olympians that have come from the university with Coach Fry, has that been part of his consideration or part of the recruiting process?
Absolutely, yeah. Coach Fry is a big selling point just with his history and things like that. And when you look at his other finalists, Michigan, Miami. I don't know about running track at Michigan, man. It's cold, but I'm sure they have an indoor. I'm not sure. I think Oregon stands out, and then Maryland. Maryland has a really good track coach too. He's got a pedigree, and he got Under Armour and stuff up there. But absolutely, Preston, Coach Fry is a big selling point. He's been involved, and I'm sure Coach Fry would love to have him. I mean, those guys don't come along, but every now and then. So I think that is a big selling point for Carolina. Probably understated a little bit, I would think, if you look at kind of the grand narrative of things out there when it comes to his recruitment. Certainly Oregon is like track heaven with their facilities and things like that. And then you got the Maryland coach who's local. But Coach Fry is definitely a big part of it. And the program at Carolina is a really good one, historically good. And Coach Fry is a legend. So that's been a big selling point.
Real quick, JC, and then we'll hit a break and move on. But would you, if South Carolina lands Nicholas Harbor tomorrow, Jadeveon will always be the biggest recruit South Carolina's ever landed, and I'm not just talking about rankings. Lattimore could be up there just in terms of what it meant at that particular time. Would you have this top 2 or 3, just being able to go out of state like this to land a national prospect? Would you put it up there with what it meant to land Marcus Lattimore for Steve Spurrier or Jadeveon Clowney?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that high.
Okay.
Marcus, to me, although Clowney obviously is probably one of the most talented players to come through the program ever, obviously, and made an impact right away. Marcus, to me, though, was the biggest of the Spurrier era, because if you don't have Marcus Lattimore in 2010, you don't win the East, and that got the ball rolling. Just as far as a guy that had instant impact. We talk about NIL these days and stuff, and there's a lot of debate about value for high school recruits. What are they really worth? And people ask me, well, who would have been worth, a big chunk of change? And I always point to Marcus, and I said, well, that guy, that guy was worth 2 wins and a trip to Atlanta. I mean, that's invaluable for your program. And then Clowney too, because I think Eric Hyman said at the time that Clowney generated $10 million worth of free publicity for the school because he committed on Valentine's Day, and it was such a big deal. So, it would be those two. I don't know that I'd rank it quite that high, Bill, just because I think Nick Harbor can come in and contribute and make his share of plays as a freshman, but is he going to be the difference between 8 wins and 10 next year? I probably wouldn't say that. I mean, you never know. It's a funny game, right? But I probably wouldn't say that. But certainly with him being out of state, just from a perception standpoint, you think back, people get mad at me, but they know that this is the other program they follow closely, whether they want to admit it or not. When Clemson signed C.J. Spiller, that all of a sudden, it almost gives out-of-state guys in certain areas permission to pick South Carolina over maybe a blue blood. And that happened with Clemson when they got Spiller. All of a sudden, other 5-stars from Florida were coming to Clemson. And so I think from that standpoint, it could have an impact not only on, what Harbor brings to the table, but to kind of lay the groundwork for future players, like I said, up in the DMV. So it would be big. I'd probably rank it third, probably ahead of Birch and Pickens, the other 5-stars they've signed. Stephon Gilmore was a 4-star, but shoot, that guy locked down his side of the field for 3 years. So I think he'd be up there too as far as impact. But just from a recruiting, I don't want to say hype, but perception standpoint, yeah, he'd be right there behind Lattimore and Clowney, in my opinion.
We'll get into a little bit of football news from yesterday. Kristen Coggins departing the program, get JC's take on that and a few other things. Right now, though, let's give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to Thursday's South Carolina women's game against Kentucky. 7 o'clock tip time over at Colonial Life Arena. Caller number 4 will win a pair of tickets to Thursday night's South Carolina women's game against Kentucky coming up. You can go to that right now. 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got a take?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Keeping a clean home, making it look sparkling. Oh, well, it's actually pretty easy. You just got to have the secret recipe, and that secret recipe is actually a phone number or a web address. It's ZeroRes, 803-262-4020, or you can book with ease online. ZeroResColumbia.com is how you can do that. It is the final day of January, but you can still take advantage of their January sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119 plus when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. You'll get a hallway cleaned for free. So don't wait any longer. Contact ZeroRes today. Take advantage of their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all insanely clean and keep it cleaner longer. So call them today, 803-262-4020, or schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 plus. All you need to do is mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. You get a hallway clean for free. Whether you spell it backwards or forwards, ZeroRes is the right way to clean.
Attention all golf and sports club enthusiasts. Are you looking for a top-notch, family-focused facility in the Midlands? Look no further than the Windermere Club. Our 18-hole Peak Dye golf course is legendary and well-maintained. Our indoor-outdoor tennis complex is top of the line. And our fitness center is loaded with the latest equipment. But that's not all. We also have a state-of-the-art aquatic center with programming for swimmers of all levels. And the best part, our rates are unbeatable. Craving delicious food with a view? Come enjoy the Lakeside Grill. Our talented chef serves up mouth-watering dishes with a beautiful lake view. Lakeside Grill, where every meal is a masterpiece. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be a part of the Windermere Club for less than $70 a month. The Windermere Club, where excellence meets affordability. Call us now at 786-PUT to schedule a tour and take advantage of our special January offer. That's 786-PUT.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-234-3388. That's 800-234-3388. 800-234-3388.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WIN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WIN.
Hey, why not try something extreme and exciting this year, like zorbing?
Oh, dizzy? Ouch, really dizzy?
Or maybe something really adventuresome, like human catapulting. Or Maybe just try eating extremely good pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. We start with hand-tossed spring water dough, add the freshest ingredients, and bake it all on the stone. Now that's exciting and extremely delicious. The Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
We have an accident reported in downtown Columbia, Bull Street at Elmwood Avenue. Also a disabled vehicle, I-20 eastbound at Wilson Boulevard. And you'll find a tie-up towards Chapin, Old Lexington Highway at Primrose Lane. Careful, some patchy dense fog out there this morning. That'll be clearing out for a high of 67 today.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Again, a reminder tonight, and we will give away a pair of tickets in the next hour to South Carolina and Mississippi State. But tonight, 6:30 tip time for the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs over at Colonial Life Arena. 6 o'clock pregame. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. We'll talk more about that in hour number 3. But let's get back. J.C. Shurburtt joining us. Preston and I talked about this earlier, J.C., and, you know, there was a time where mentioning the nutritionist leaving, nobody cared. Nobody, it didn't raise an eyebrow. But nutritionist now, that's a part of your off-season program. And what Kristen Coggins had done, not that she's irreplaceable, mind you, but what Kristen Coggins had done, she was a big part of the recruiting pitch. I talked about it. Stone Blanton last year talked about his his official visit and working with the nutritional staff to learn how to make good food, healthy food to eat. She will be replaced, and I don't know if we'll talk about the next nutritionist like we did with Kristen Coggins, but this is kind of a loss. I mean, this is someone who was a big part of the operation that is the football program.
Yeah, she did a great job. You know, came here in 2017, moving on for a new opportunity at the University of Nebraska. I guess following Marcus Satterfield out there. I guess that was the connection. If you kind of look at Matt Rule's cryptic tweet the other day, it was probably pretty obvious that, Satterfield had the idea that, hey, we should probably go get this person. A good opportunity for her. A lot more money, I think. And here's the thing. Yeah, some folks are going to probably, be critical about Nebraska coming in and taking a staff member or whatever. But I'll say this, in my opinion, and I'm not a nutritionist, right? But I think some people are builders, in work. My old boss, Shannon Terry's like that. He's on his third company now in the same business. So, and he's daggum good at it. And I think sometimes, if you're somewhere and you've built something that's special, sometimes you want to go someplace else and do it again. You want a new challenge. And Nebraska certainly, that group, I watched them play a few times this year. They probably need to get in better shape. It doesn't look like the Nebraska of old by any stretch. And eating is very important these days. Just about every college has a nutritionist or something. But South Carolina's program under her leadership was second to none. The recruits talk about it. The players talk about it. It's, the kids love to eat, as it is. And she sort of changed the game. I think between what she's accomplished with the nutrition and what they've done academically with the Doty Center, if you notice, South Carolina is just right behind Vandy. Graduation rates just about every time in the SEC. Those two support programs at South Carolina are elite. And she had a lot to do with it. But I think the key, if you're Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks and the athletic department, is to keep it going. Make a strong hire behind her, somebody that will come in and, continue to develop the nutrition program at Carolina in a manner that represents, her work and what she built. So I think that's pretty good. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of one of those things where you go, wow, that's pretty good. South Carolina could sit there and claim probably one of the best nutrition programs in the country. And trust me, they invest in it at Carolina. I know a coach at an ACC school right now, and you wouldn't believe the school if I told you it's not Clemson, but they struggle to get their guys fed because of cost, especially in the off season, and that's not the case at South Carolina. So it's a big selling point, I think, for not only recruits but for current players getting their body right and all that good stuff.
We will wrap up hour number 2 here with J.C. Shurburtt. He's Preston Thorne. I'm Bill Gunner. She is Jen Jensen. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Comfort Tech Service Experts.
Furnace freeze-ups? There's an expert for that.
Let your local heating experts at Midland Air Service Experts keep you worry-free with the Advantage program for just one low monthly payment. Call 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Life matters. Recently, I visited Gloucester, Massachusetts, home of the fishing boat Andrea Gale, lost at sea over a decade ago. Her story is told in the book and movie, The Perfect Storm. Along the harbor is a statue commemorating both the fishermen who risked their lives and the wives, children, and sweethearts who wait for their return. It was in Gloucester that I heard of a fisherman who was cast from his ship during a storm and held desperately to a rock until the weather passed. Upon his safe return, his daughter asked him, "Daddy, didn't you shake with fear when you were hanging onto that rock?" His reply, "Yes, honey, but the rock didn't." For 2,000 years, people have discovered Christ to be the rock of ages. The Bible says that we can run to that rock and find safety from the storms of life. It won't shake when the going gets tough. This is Stephen Chitty, pastor of Christian Life. Remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver," unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced cleaning of Zerorez. Take advantage of their New Year sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Get the right care at the right place. Visit Lexington Medical Center's convenient urgent care centers for minor illnesses and injuries, and use our emergency room for emergencies. Go to lexmed.com/care now to know where to go for the care you need now.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
We have an accident reported in downtown Columbia, Bull Street at Elmwood Avenue. Also a disabled vehicle, I-20 eastbound at Wilson Boulevard. And you'll find a tie-up towards Chapin, Old Lexington Highway at Primrose Lane. Careful, some patchy dense fog out there this morning. That'll be clearing out for a high of 67 today.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
$7:53 on your Tuesday morning commute. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, and joined for the last few minutes here by J.C. Shurburtt as we get you ready for National Signing Day tomorrow. We'll get Preston's thoughts on what he remembers about signing day. J.C., it's different. This is slowly becoming less and less relevant. You would agree? Like tomorrow, South Carolina will have Elijah Caldwell sign, wide receiver from Northwestern, and of course Nicholas Harbor is going to be the name that we're all watching tomorrow. But this day is really the decrease in attention to it from where it was 6-7 years ago to me is incredible because it was me and Josh Lowe. You'd send me when I worked with you. I'd be sent to Atlanta to the Mario Andretti motor. I'm dead serious about this, Preston. I'd get sent to the Mario Andretti Motor Speedway in Atlanta with Josh Lowe. And going back to the conversation one time, I'm going over there the night before. I've got Josh Lowe with me, who used to work with the Big Spur. And we stop at a Waffle House. And apparently Josh Lowe had never left whatever town he was from because at the Waffle House, he asked the waitress if they had pancakes.
Oh, no. Violation. Violation.
But I would go over there. They'd have a big event. It was really cool. JC, just the development, the change of this signing day, does it affect you? Because this used to be such a huge day, such a Christmas for men really in the Southeast, seeing the new kids that were coming into their program.
Yeah, and look, there's some talk. Greg Sankey's been on the record, the SEC commissioner, that maybe they go back to the traditional period because there's just so much on coaches now. In December, they've crammed the portal opening into it. You've got coaching changes. You've got, I don't know how they prepare for bowl games now, opt-outs. You almost end the regular season now and immediately turn all your focus toward keeping your roster intact. And, thank goodness that, a lot of recruiting now gets done in advance. But I also think it kind of takes some opportunities off the table because some kids out there that have had great senior years, they may not get the looks that they used to, and part of the other travesty is you can't let coaches go to Shrine Bowl anymore and all that. So I wouldn't mind seeing it go back, Bill, to be honest. But, it is a little less climactic than maybe it once was.
Preston nodded his head there when you mentioned the Shrine Bowl. Maybe a discussion for another day there is certainly something that he can weigh in as well. Man, we always appreciate you stopping by. Look forward to catching up with you. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. JC, I know you all have a bunch of great coverage on everything going down with South Carolina.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Good to be on with you.
Yes, sir.
Good to talk to you. Coming up next, Murray Coleman of the United Way. We'll talk. I'm trying to get Preston heavily involved in golf.
Good luck.
We've got Driving Down Maine, a virtual golf tournament next week. We'll talk about that, and we'll also get back into some nutrition. Bernie's, how nutritious was it for Preston Thorne?
Protein.
Mm-hmm.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Ecton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Incorporated.
Hey, Gamecock and Tiger fans, do you like a bargain? Of course you do. Gamecock Traditions and Tiger Traditions want you to know about their 30% off all apparel sale. Tees, sweats, golf shirts, even shoes are all 30% off this week. Shop online at GamecockTraditions.com or TigerTraditions.com or go by either location, 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington or in Sand Hills Village by the fountain. Hurry for the best selection. Gamecock Traditions and Tiger Traditions 30% off apparel sale going on now.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right, we'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
3630592. Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-234-3388. That's 800-234-3388. 800-234-3388.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the Power of Love Chevrolet, Tahoe, Silverado, Suburban, Colorado. If your dreams for the new year include cruising around town in your brand new Chevy, look no further than South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter.
What is an in-home visit like compared to the official visit or the whole recruiting process? Because the in-home, it's like you know them. I guess you're fixing them a dinner. It feels like you know everything. What was the in-home visit like with Lou Holt?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
I guess I want to ask my mom what that was like for her. I never asked that question, but I would imagine in-home visits, a lot of cleaning before, a lot of prep work, a lot of clean your room up, a lot of move all the baby stuff to the side or whatever you have going on in the house. And you basically just come in. We didn't have dinner because Lou and Charlie Strong were like, let's preempt that just in case I don't like the food. So it was just kind of like.
I mean, that's another good point. Like, I don't know how many coaches actually do that. Be like, you know what? I'll just bring pizza. Little Caesars is on the way. We'll bring the pizza.
And Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
$8:01 on your Tuesday morning, kind of a gloomy commute. I believe it's supposed to at least get a little bit better, maybe rain throughout the day here or there. Not the best day to head out to the golf course and play. Obviously, a lot of rain over the weekend. Drove by Lexington Country Club yesterday and was kind of packed with water. It's a good place always to play golf, though. Well, it's inside, and you can do that coming up here next week. I'll be back out. 4th trip hanging out with Zach and Murray. Great buddies have taken care of us. They are, of course, with the United Way, and we are doing it again, driving down Maine for the kids next Monday and Tuesday. It is at the Players Club off of Main Street here in Columbia. Murray, welcome back. This year, Preston Murray, big North Carolina fan. Like, big North Carolina. Matter of fact, the fact that he's not wearing any baby blue today is a slight upset a little bit. And last year, this interview got cut short because Murray just walked out. He'd had enough. We promoted the event. Then I started asking about the game. All of a sudden, it got cut short. So this year, good news for you. We will not be doing that to you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Bill. Appreciate it.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about this next Monday and Tuesday. I'll be participating in it. We'll be, again, auctioning off. We've done this, I think, the last 3 years. I believe maybe the last 4 years, and obviously didn't do it, I believe, 1 year because of COVID, I think, something like that. But we've done it. I've met some interesting people, Preston, some good golfers, some people who had a hard time hitting the screen in front of us. There you go. Zach, you've done that. Talk a little bit about Zach. This is a fun, it's a great event, but just being able to play golf inside, hang around, climate controlled rooms, very nice.
Yeah, I made a cardinal sin this morning of checking the weather, and it's supposed to be like beautiful Monday and Tuesday outside. But when we plan this thing, we know this time of year usually is what it is right now, and everybody kind of needs a break from the holidays and get back into it before the actual outdoor golf tournaments start in April, May. So Murray and I said, let's do something inside where you can take half a day and then rehydrate yourself afterwards if need be. Get back on that horse and do something great for the community and support the kids at United Way.
Now, Preston, have you ever played golf? Like, have you ever had a golf club in your hands and swung just to see what would happen?
Well, you asked two different questions. Yes, I have had a golf club in my hand and I have swung. No, I have never played golf on a course.
Okay.
I do have a brand new set of clubs, though, because I'm lefty. I have a brand new set of lefty clubs that have never been used. So I've been waiting for an excuse to do something with them.
I think you found a partner, Bill.
Yeah. I mean, if Preston go, I've left it open, and we're only 2 shows in. We're only 2 shows in, and last year Patrick played with me. He was a lefty, and Patrick was awful. I mean, just absolutely.
Oh well,
awful.
then I'm right on. I'm right on par.
Yeah, we had Courtney Levitt with us, and he did. We had Matt Jurgensen, whose father Brad played basketball at South Carolina. It was a very interesting foursome that we had. We had a blast. I've never won the event, but the good thing here is, Preston, if you shank it, if you slice it, if you hook it, and you're in the rough, you know what? You're still right there, basically in a living room type setting. You're not walking through the grass, the weeds. You're not worried about snakes popping up or ants. That's an even better part of this event.
Go sit down on the couch, have a couple nachos.
True.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the hardest part is right away, because Murray and I think Zach has both done this. You got to get the computer going early on and know how to not mess up your score. And typically by the hole 2, we've already screwed that up.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part. But once you get past that, it's just hanging out with some buddies and playing golf. And again, it'll be next Monday and Tuesday. It'll be at the Players Club right on Main Street. Right. Fourth year y'all have done this.
It's our 5th year.
5th year.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm getting older, Murray. You've known me for a long time. I'm getting older. It's okay. This year we're playing the Jack Nicklaus signature. We were debating this off air. Kierva Los Cabos course, I believe, is what we're playing. But Murray, talk a little bit about the event and how it helps the Midlands and what exactly it does.
So driving down Maine, like Zach said, came up 5 years ago to try to give a way to engage folks throughout the Midlands to have a little fun, spare a couple hours for the kids. We have this great resource on Main Street, the Players Club, where folks can come out, play 9 holes, get to, shank it, do really, really well, and see how well you can do. Plus, take really advantage of just a great atmosphere, climate control, golf carts, any other that stuff to worry about, just to come in and raise a lot of money for the Midlands Reading Consortium, which is our early education childhood program throughout 6 counties and 17 schools.
Pretty cool little event there, obviously, and it goes, as you just mentioned, it's for the United Way, goes to a great cause. Funds raised through Driving Down Mains go to the Midlands Reading Consortium. Again,
correct.
you were working with me on pronouncing that there. It's a signature program. The United Way aims to help increase the number of children reading at grade level by the start of 4th grade, improving their chances of graduating on time. And Preston, I know that's great for you. Obviously, if you're just tuning in, you've never listened to Preston at all, then you're unaware of the fact that Preston's written a book.
Yes.
A couple books. So the cause that they're doing also means a great deal to you as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime we can get people involved with literacy is the building blocks of education in our communities. And so if we can have more and more students working on reading, communities building reading and getting books in children's hands, it's always something that is beneficial. So, yeah, that's one of our goals that we work with Just a Chicken when we go and visit schools around the Midlands, around the state. And so being able to hear about this, this is my first time hearing about this. So I would love to be able to try and link up in partnership with United Way to figure out ways that we can help, because again, the more well-read we are as a community, as a society, the better off we will all be.
Couldn't agree more. We actually read your book to some students over at Case Elementary, I think, last
Absolutely.
year. So
again, an innovative and fun way for people to engage across industries through friendly competition while creating change in the community. And again, it's a 9-hole charity event. It takes about an hour and a half.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. Well, we play fast. We're very talented, but nonetheless, I guess talk a little bit about how this came about, because it is a different event as opposed to going out to a golf course and playing 18 holes in your traditional tournament. Obviously, the weather here in February, a little bit different, but talk a little bit about how Zach, you and Murray kind of came about putting this together for what it really is, a different way of playing golf.
Well, like any great story, it started over a salad.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I need to say. So Murray and I were sitting here like, okay, how do we involve people in the community that don't have a full day to go sit out on the links and don't have to answer at home, why are you so late getting home? Things like that. So it's like, okay, well, we've got this facility right downtown that's walkable to a lot of people in Columbia. So how can we utilize that? It's like, okay, well, this is what we can do. Got with leadership over there and said, let's see if we can put something together and let's do an abbreviated tournament. It started out basically just a half-day tournament. Now it's gone into 2 full days. Now we've had a lot of great response from folks. So it's just taking advantage of facilities that we have here, things that are kind of unique to Columbia, and trying to involve more members of the community. So that was the whole goal when we started this thing.
And don't forget the importance of being first. It is the first golf tournament of the season in the Midlands.
There you go. That's of course the big part. Now, talk a little bit about if people want to play. And I probably should have asked y'all this before, but I'm not sure if tee times are still available. But if people want to participate, where do they need to go? How do they need to get involved?
Tee times are still available. They are at 9, 11:30, 2 p.m., and 4:30 each day. Go to www.uway.org/DDM to register now.
So again, go to uway.org/DDM, Driving Down Main. That's what DDM stands for, Driving Down Main, and you can sign up. Is it a thing where you need to bring 3 of your buddies? Do you have groups that you're going to pair people with? Like if say Preston and I think we've gotten Preston involved now. He seems pretty excited. We mentioned the food aspect of it and the fact he doesn't have to get his shoes wet or potentially hit a ball into. You get the good news. If you lose a ball here, which I think Patrick might have done last year, might have hit it over top of the screen and it went back behind the screen. I'm not sure. But if you lose a ball here, you now know golf is really not your thing. But you didn't waste a whole day outside.
Food and hydration. I'm here for the food and hydration.
So, but to go back, if there's 2 people and they're looking for 2 more, will you have others that maybe they can play with, or how does that work?
Yeah, we're playing Captain's Choice foursomes, but if you can only find 2 people, then we can definitely help you find a third or 4.
There's always a straggler around there.
There's always someone is always hanging around the clubhouse, and again, it's a great event down at the Players Club. And again, let's just remind people this is for a great event. It's a great event. Again, the funds go to the Midlands Reading Consortium, and it's a signature program for the United Way aimed to help increase the number of children reading at a grade level by the start of 4th grade and improving the chances of graduating on time. I'll ask Zach, I'll ask you first. Do you remember a book early on in life that you would read that maybe stood out? You talk about reading by the 4th grade. I know that was a big part of my life coming up in elementary school. You got, I went straight to you because I figured these 2 here, I better give them time. They're get a little bit up there in age. All of a sudden, you got to really remember back then. But you got a book that stood out to you when you were little.
The fact that you think I'm that much younger than them is impressive.
You look a lot younger than all. You don't have the gray in your beard like Preston and I do. And
I shaved this morning.
Baby face Coleman over here to my right. He's a young looking guy too. But
so I guess I remember all the classics. Give a mouse a cookie and things like that. The first one I guess I really remember was probably a book called Mr. Flibberty-Jib.
Okay.
That was passed down, I think, from my dad.
Okay.
That they read to him when he was a kid. I cannot find this thing anywhere, but it is seared in my brain. Vividly remember it.
You got one, Murray?
Encyclopedia Brown.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The whole series that's my jam.
Preston?
Man, so many, but so many, but Where the Red Fern Grows.
Okay.
Oh, that was a great one.
All right.
And it's haunting still.
The Cat in the Hat.
Cat
in the Hat. Like, because that terrified me. Like it was
you don't like 6 foot tall
cats?
Cats?
The equivalent of It, basically, growing up. Like it got read to me and I went like, I don't think I ever want to read anything from this Seuss guy again.
Don't like this.
I think I was in like 2nd grade and like, what is this guy own? What is wrong with him? So, but no, reading obviously, and again, funds raised, driving down Main, it'll go toward the Midlands Reading Consortium, a signature program for the United Way, which again, both you guys are very involved with. And just talk about a few other things you do within the community here to try and help.
Well, you can always go to our webpage, unitedway.org, to see the events that are going on. But we really focus on health and human services issues, particularly around education, health, and economic mobility here in the Midlands and the 6 county footprint. So we have a lot of kids and families to cover. So we can really appreciate all the help we can get from the community.
And Zach, how can people go about helping you all?
As far as this is concerned, it's literally just come out and play. When we originally started this, it was a way to get more small businesses engaged that sometimes feel like they don't fit necessarily as part of the United Way, but they are and absolutely should be. So this is a great way for maybe people who aren't traditional companies, big corporate stuff, to be involved. This is just half a day. You get to have something fun and support the local community here. So that's who we're really after.
Again, it'll be next Monday and Tuesday, the 6th and the 7th. Tee times are available. You can go to uway.org/DDM. You can remember about that by it's driving down Main, which is where the Players Club is at. If you've never been over there, absolutely phenomenal facility, really cool. They've got rooms that you go into. I think there are certain areas that are bays that you would play out of, but there are certain rooms. I know last year we were in a room trying not to break stuff. Courtney Levitt, former teammate of yours, was in there giving us the breakdown on how to play golf. And
Courtney plays, though. He plays pretty well,
Courtney,
right?
Yeah, but again, you can, even if you play, this is a different environment. The putting, that's why let's see here. I've already lost my putter in here. I just brought it in because I figured the producer the producer there, but the engineer might not like me having a putter around all the mics and everything. But yeah, the putting is always the most difficult thing. You got to figure out you got to try and read the contour of the green, the speeds. That's always the most interesting thing about it. But if you want to come and participate, tee times are available. Go to uway.org/DDM, driving down Main. Again, it is an innovative and fun way for people to engage across industries. Friendly, Preston, friendly competition.
I was just wondering, was my experience maybe in Tiger Woods on PlayStation? Will that come in handy?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I'm going to push back on that 100%. They give you Tiger Visions on the green. You just got to figure out how to use them.
okay. All right.
That's where it's good.
Yeah,
luck.
but you're not using the controller there. You're putting the ball into. There's a line, and you have to do that.
I'm gonna go. I will say that I'm experienced now.
Okay. All right. Good. So he's ready again. This year we will be playing the signature Jack Nicklaus Hierva, I believe. I've never actually heard of this course. So I'm really excited. I think last year we played Hilton Head. I believe we've played a bunch of them. We've played a bunch of really good ones. It's a really cool event. Again, 9-hole charity event next Monday and Tuesday. Go to uway.org, uway.org/DDM for tee times. Murray, Zach, we always appreciate y'all stopping by. We definitely look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys, for having us.
Thanks so much, guys.
Appreciate it.
Make sure you, again, go to that website, uway.org, if you want to play. Preston and I, maybe we'll get Jen out there. We'll all be hanging out, have a really good time. Our tee time is next Monday, 11 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And we're going to give away later on a chance for 2 people to come and join us and play with us. We'll do that later this week, but we will give a chance for 2 of y'all to take your Monday off, come hang out with Preston and I down at the Players Club. We'll come back. We'll get back into some Kristen Coggins information as it pertains to South Carolina, get some stories from Preston as well. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 1075 The Game on Twitter, 1075 The Game on Instagram, and 1075 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 1075 The Game.
This is Sean Morash with a CBS Sports Minute sponsored by TaxSlayer. Start filing for free today at TaxSlayer.com. Patrick Mahomes finally became the Bengal and Burrow Slayer on Sunday and did so without 3 of his top receivers. They all went down with injuries in game. It was unbelievable to watch Mahomes navigate on that ankle. But where did the narrative come that the world doubted Mahomes was the best QB in football? Not in this country. I'm Sean Morash.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like saddling up and chasing down.
Look at that sweet moolah!
That big old cash cow.
Look at all that money!
File for free with TaxSlayer Simply Free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now during Staples Sit-a-thon, select chairs are more than 50% off. Like the leather Vortex gaming chair, now just $119.99 at Staples. You save $140. Plus get 2 2-ounce bottles of Purell hand sanitizer, free with the Staples Connect app. So take a seat or 2. Right now at Staples, the working, learning, and saving store. Offers end 2/4. Share offer valid in-store and online. Purell Limit 2, in-store only, while supplies last.
Sponsored by Mucinex Fast Max. With Mucinex, it's not cold and flu season. It's comeback season. Mucinex Fast Max Cold and Flu All-in-One provides powerful multi-symptom relief of up to 9 cold and flu symptoms in just 1 dose. Get the relief you need this season with Mucinex Fast Max All-in-One and Done. Use as directed.
Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got them, they work well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. John at Dan's Fan City wants to remind you to make your ceiling fan move in reverse this time of year to keep the heat off the ceiling. See John for any questions and for all of your ceiling fan needs. Go to Dan's Fan City in Harbison or call him at 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Rian Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Gale, you've got this gift, always knowing the truth.
I only know if something is a lie. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Cale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder. You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face, streaming now only on Peacock.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring mental health professionals, mental health officers, and more behavioral health positions across the state. There's increased pay for mental health professionals and mental health officers and great benefits available. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. Sponsored by South Carolina Department of Corrections, SCBA, and the station.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And taking a look at your traffic conditions out there. Clemson Road at I-20, we have a tie-up there. Also, I-20 eastbound at Wilson Boulevard, a disabled vehicle. I-20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road, you'll find an accident. Another one, Meadowfield Road at Oakley Springs Drive. The Apache Duns fog should be clearing out. Looking for high today of 67. Right now, though, it's not too bad, 53. 107.5, The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Tonight, Colonial Life Arena, 6:30 tip time, South Carolina and Mississippi State. Let's give you a chance right now to win a pair of tickets to tonight's game. 6:30 tip time. You can come on down to the Vista, get a little appetizer, get some food, and then walk on down. Caller number 4, Jen. Caller number 4, 803-404-6100 can win a pair of tickets to tonight's home basketball game against Mississippi State. 6:30. Of course, you can hear it right here on 1075 The Game as well. But we'll take caller number 4 right now to win a pair of tickets to tonight's game, South Carolina and Mississippi State. Again, 803-404-6100. Give you a chance to get on down to Colonial Life Arena. Check out a little Gigi Jackson action. See if Michi Johnson can connect on a couple three-pointers and if the Gamecocks can get themselves win number 2 in SEC play. That is over at Colonial Life Arena. Caller number 4 right now, 803-404-6100 is who can win that. We have talked a good bit, Preston, about an interesting kind of topic this morning because even as I was reading it last night and knowing that we were going to talk about it, even as we're talking about this morning, I'm trying to put it in context, the nutritionist for your football team and what that means. Well, apparently it means a lot because Matt Rule must have been very excited. Today is Tuesday. Must have been very excited on Sunday, I believe, to have landed Kristen Coggins. So excited that he put out a tweet of food being prepared.
There's a 2-star meal he posted. If he was supposed to be getting people fired up about Kristen Coggins coming to his program, this was the wrong picture to post. It is abjectly terrible. And we're gonna roast it. There's I don't know whether he was. The tweet says, "Can you smell?" I guess it's in. Let me do it in the voice of The Rock.
Okay.
Can you smell what Coach Sat?
Okay. Number one, that was not The Rock's voice. We're gonna have to work on you. Not deep enough, but all right, keep going.
What Coach Sat is cooking, and there's a nondescript bowl of rice and some kibasi, charred, to be polite, in a bowl. They're not mixed. You just cut up some kibasi and put it in a bowl. This would not have me excited about.
If you were a player, or if this is what you saw your team eating,
this would not be excited to me. I would not be excited about this being my future of nutrition. This looks very bad. And so I guess this is what he was trying to point out, that we're going to have somebody. Maybe he was saying we're going from this to the next thing.
Okay.
This is where we are as a program now. Right now, as a Nebraska program, we are rice and kibosky cut up, put in a bowl. But with the new hire, we're going to be making strides.
Okay.
Maybe that's what he's saying.
So, yeah, you are not a fan. Matt Rule trying to get his.
Oh, I'm not a fan of Matt
But
Rule.
is it?
Period,
Is
but
it? Oh, really?
Yeah, just
what's the Matt Rule dislike?
I think he might be a little fraudulent.
Really?
I think so. Maybe. I'm gonna reserve judgment till he flames out of Nebraska, and then we'll go in. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay. Well, no, because this is now it's going to be interesting early on next year, because you do get as a whole, Colorado is going to be interesting next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as a complete whole, but they get Nebraska early on in the season. We get Prime.
Who do I want to lose?
We
more
get
in that
Coach
game?
Prime taking on. You get. I mean, look, we don't know game times just yet, so I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that I'm like fully invested in that game, because for all I know, it's going to be the same time. I think it's week 2 is what I'm trying to look up. Colorado plays TCU. Yeah. Week 2, September 9th. So South Carolina will be playing Furman that day. So maybe Colorado hosting Nebraska will be more towards the top of my list than South Carolina Furman on September 9th. But I will be keeping an eye on that game for Matt Rule, for Marcus Satterfield, for Coach Prime. There's a lot there that will bring me into that game on September 9th.
Yeah, I just was wondering, who do I want to lose more in that game, and I can't quite figure out who's my real.
You're pulling for one of the first ties to happen in college football in over 20 years.
Can we tie at 0 for both of these, for Coach Prime, Coach Sat, and crew? Okay, so I guess he's making some sort of cryptic tweet, which we said that is done, which leads us to say that Coach Sat might have taken something as he was leaving. He didn't just take his stapler and his pictures of his family. Did he take our nutritionist also?
Does this mean, just like we're angry at Maryland, we now have to get Nebraska on this? I would be all for a home and home with Nebraska, by the way. If we want to get angry about this.
Hey, listen.
If we want to demand a home and home with Nebraska, count me in for, because well before our time, both of our times, 86, 87, I think. 86, 87. Now you had the matchup back in 2011, 2012, I forget what year, whatever bowl game it was, obviously against Bo Pelini. Count me in for a trip to Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, the question is, what becomes part of the nutritionist menu? If you're a lot of corn,
steak, corn, potatoes. I just don't know if the right, Jen. I don't know if the folks in Nebraska are going to be able to adapt to some of the spices and things that maybe Kristen has used here in the SEC. She's going to have to really change that palate a little bit as she goes to.
Yeah, it's a more meat and potatoes
It's
land.
going to be more. It's going to be more steak and potatoes again.
Or pork chops. Lots of potatoes.
Yeah, you how happy Jen sounds about this.
Yeah.
But that's not. I mean, there's a serious part to this that is the nutritional side. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know what they were eating down there. Like, I know what I do when I try to be healthy. There's a lot of asparagus. I get spinach. I incorporate a great deal of spinach into my diet. But I'm working on about a 35 to now I'm 40-year-old body. Entirely different than what you have to eat when you're going through Luke Day's strength and conditioning program.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole other. There's you definitely need more calories, but they need to be better calories.
So
more nutrition.
So what becomes more of the nutritional value of your? Although this is not like what is it? What's one of old boy shows there? The guy who's got 97 million shows.
Guy Fieri?
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay has a new show on Fox.
Yeah,
it's just
the new one is Levels to the Kitchen. It's Hell's Kitchen on different levels.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Can't wait.
He really has. Like, I think their Tuesday night lineup is just Gordon Ramsay cooking shows, just cooking competitions.
And I know it's not his, but I actually thought about World's Worst Cook. I guarantee you I could probably qualify for that because I'm just not that fantastic. I can try There was literally, when I was younger, we had a family recipe and it was called Never Fail Cupcakes. And literally that's the name. Guess who it failed for?
Yeah.
And it was like a brick. But I then learned, I guess you're supposed to like follow everything in order. Well, I just kind of throwing stuff in as I found it, I don't know.
So what I've come to on this new program that we have now, the three of us, if you need yard work done, if you want some hedging, some weed eating, some trimming of the, you call Jen.
Yes.
If you need cooking, you call Bill. Where do you fit in on this,
there you
Preston? If you just need entertainment or philosophical, because I saw somebody yesterday and it took me a minute to figure out what was being told of me. But if you need philosophical conversation, because I believe somebody on Twitter, sent this out. Let me see if I can go back and find it. But I guess that we're supposed to have a discussion about science fiction.
Oh, science fiction versus fantasy.
Yes, I reckon. I feel like that has to be a discussion at some point, because is that so for philosophical, for good conversation, you call Preston?
Yeah, but I can cook pretty well too.
Okay, nice.
I'm pretty solid at on the stove. I don't love baking because you got to measure, so I'm not here for that very often. But I can cook pretty well. I can do some things on the grill, so I'm solid in the kitchen.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. We'll get back into that. Anonymous texter says they don't look like kielbasa. It just looks like hot dogs. Hot dogs and rice. It looks like, which that would kind of fit the Marcus Satterfield offense, right? Like, just, you don't even put the fancy sausage in. It's just hot dogs and yellow rice is what it looked like when I saw the picture.
Definitely, and it's not yellow rice the way some of you may thinking about it. It's definitely yellow out of a microwave package.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What was that? What did you say the losers got when you played?
Hot dogs, boiled hot dogs.
Not even grilled.
Because
we would all agree. I do
Actually,
know.
boiled's not bad. You throw a little celery salt on it, though.
We wasn't doing that. It was just plop.
Plain. Yeah.
That was an
No,
incentive.
I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm above boiled hot dogs, because, there are times. But I am the person who will fire up the grill to grill a singular hot dog. Like, there's something about a grilled hot dog.
You can do it in a skillet.
That is much better. Well, the foreman back in college. But now I have more in the evening. I get bored easy. And so I'm like, I'm just going to fire up the grill. It's propane anyway. It's propane anyway. It's not like I'm wasting a whole bunch of charcoal.
There's quite a bit to do at my house right now. So, like insulation to be put in, emptying cabinets, and, because we're still in restoration mode in my house. So if you are bored, you just let me know, because I could hook you up with all kinds of stuff to do.
Well, if you've got, I guess if you need a chef, but I think we know if you need manual labor around the house, I'm not the person to call.
Yeah, I guess I'm the one. I'll get my power tools out.
I can pick stuff up and put it down. I can't fix things, but I can move things.
And I like that. Like, give me, cordless power, cordless drills or saws. Like, I like doing that kind of stuff. I always have.
In my household, anything that needs to be put together goes to my better half.
Oh, see. Smart.
Jamie on our Firehouse Subs text line says that stuff looked like a British person tried to make jambalaya.
Yeah, see that. I don't know. It wasn't chicken bog. It wasn't perlo. It wasn't. I don't know what they were going for. It was a failed attempt. And again,
it looked like two people sitting around being like, you know what we should do? We should just cook something and take a picture of it to highlight this.
Okay, so you posted the picture. Now we need to see you eating it, because I don't know if you. I don't believe you actually ate that.
They had the dog was right there. That's who ate it. 803-404-6100. Let me tell you about my good friends at Zero Res. If you're looking to keep your house clean, nobody does it better than Zero Res. Give them a phone call today, 803-262-4020, with their patented ZR water technology. Zero Res will keep your house looking beautiful. People will come over, they'll wonder just how you did it. You can take credit for it, but in reality, you know that it was Zero Res. Right now, take advantage of their January sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119 plus. When you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. So don't wait any longer. Contact them today, 803-262-4020. You can schedule online, ZeroResColumbia.com. However you want to do it, you just want to make sure you use my name, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. That way you get that hallway cleaned for free. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information. Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Ugh, you can't park here. See the Schroeder's no parking sign? You're going to get towed.
No, I won't. Forget about it. They put those things up just to scare you. Come on, let's go.
So, where's the car, Mr. Forget About It?
Look,
big spender, you go find your car. I'm getting an Uber.
Schroeder's offers free signage to deter unwanted parking. Make your business accessible to your customers. Call Schroeder's at 772-7930 or visit schroederstowing.com.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Experience the future of connectivity with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet, delivering the fastest speeds in the nation for $49.99 a month. Advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, free for 12 months. And a Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G, free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank the Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my VA benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced, trusted law firm that can get you significant compensation while protecting all your VA benefits. We're already fighting for hundreds of Marines, families, and civilians who drank Camp Lejeune water. But if you miss the deadline, you could forever lose your right to the justice you deserve. So call our Camp Lejeune legal helpline now. Now may be your last chance to receive full compensation. Don't delay. Call 800-234-3388. That's 800-234-3388. 800-234-3388.
At Camden Military Academy, cadets achieve their untapped potential in academics and life. Hear now one cadet's message to his parents.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I think what I really want to say is this place saved our family. Me coming here saved our family. We were in a very bad spot before, but I feel like you guys should have done this sooner, to be honest. But I love you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
To learn more, visit CamdenMilitary.com.
The 5th annual Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament hosted by the United Way of the Midlands is coming up this February 6th and 7th at the Players Club, 1626 Main Street. Proceeds will be benefiting 17 Midlands elementary schools. Register your team now online by going to ua.org/DDM. Save 10% with the promo code THEGAME, all caps in one word. Again, 10% off by using the promo code THEGAME, all caps. It's United Way of the Midlands Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament, February 6th and 7th at the Players Club, 1626 Main Street.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And taking a look at your traffic conditions out there this morning, we have an accident, Clemson Road at I-20. Also, Meadowfield Road at Blackville Road. Raven Road at Flora Drive. The traffic light's currently malfunctioning, so a slowdown expected there. And an accident reported I-20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road. That fog should be clearing out, and we're looking for a high today of 67, maybe a stray shower. Tomorrow, a couple showers around 60 for the high. Right now, it's 55 at 175. Game.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can join us right now. We are going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets. This is a little bit different. Luke Bryan, the Country Own Your 2023 tour at Credit One Stadium in Charleston. It'll be Saturday, October 28th. So you can win the tickets right now. Caller number 10 will win a pair of tickets to see Luke Bryan. Everybody knows that's Heath Klein's favorite country artist. Maybe you'll get to go hang out with the one and only Heath Klein. Luke Bryan's Country on Your 2023 tour at Credit One Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina, Saturday, October 28th. We'll take caller number 10 right now. I got to admit, I took my daughter years ago to a Luke Bryan concert, and the opening act was Morgan Wallen, who I thought, kid's got a chance. And it turns out he's got more than a chance. He's done pretty good. But yeah, caller number 10 right now, Luke Bryan's Country on Your 2023 tour. You'll win a pair of tickets to see him Saturday, October 28th. I was trying very quickly to pull up South Carolina's football schedule just to be able to tell you who South Carolina plays on that particular day so you can plan accordingly. They're at Texas A&M, so they'll be out of town. So how about that? You can go see Luke Bryan. You can hang out in Charleston, and you're not missing a home game right there. Caller number 10 for Luke Bryan. Preston, a big part of this show moving forward with your addition will be food discussion on a daily basis.
Yes.
It's not just a week. Troy on our live stream says must be food week on the early game. Oh, no, buddy. We are now a bit of a foodie show. We've given you lots of sports talk today. Kristen Cog, it is interesting that our food conversation after yesterday centered around, by the way, people that sent in yesterday, and this just was awful. Mayonnaise on a sausage biscuit there's nothing about that sounds appealing. And I beg to you people who sent that in to see the error of your ways and switch to mustard. As a matter of fact, last night I was at the Pleasant Hill Gilbert Middle School girls championship game out at Gilbert. A couple people were coming up and were discussing this with me. We were in shock that you and Jamie Bradford were so uneducated on mustard on the sausage biscuit.
I don't think it was uneducated. It's just I had seen it, and I guess I just thought it was just a happy coincidence why they always put it in the bag. I was like, what is that for? And I just never did it.
You thought buy a sausage biscuit, get a free packet of mustard?
Yeah,
is that
like,
what it was?
Why do we keep doing this? But now I see. Now I see why people do this.
Okay, so there's that.
But I haven't tried it yet, though.
Okay, all right. Well, we look forward to your more research on that. Now, that brings me to my next question after discussing the hot dogs very quickly because it popped up here. What is the best way to fix a hot dog. I'm still going grill, but Heisenberg, obviously a fictitious name on our live stream, goes with, I like to air fry my hot dogs. Toasted bun, too. You know, the air fryer is one of the more genius inventions over my last really 5 years of life. And then the air fryer might have been around earlier than that. But with that being said, the air fryer is a magical item that I have fixed salmon in. This weekend, we did chicken wings, obviously. I have not done pizza per se, but I've heard of people doing that. There's a million cinnamon rolls, bacon, although messy. We discussed that last week. Where you go, if you got to fix, again, here's the key to this. You're fixing only one hot dog.
Okay.
Are you lazy and you go the boiled
this.
direction? Or if you're going to do a hot dog, do you do it the right way and you go to what I would say is the grill?
I like this direction. Okay. I am one hot dog.
One singular, just for you. You're the wife and the daughter are out of town.
Just me.
It's just you. You're firing up. There was I think a Pepsi commercial about this a while back. Again, mine's a propane grill, so there's difference in the work of charcoal. But where are you going?
Broil.
Broiled.
In the oven on broil.
Jen, are you familiar with the broiled hot dog approach?
You know, I am not, but I will do like in a skillet, I'll do a hot dog where I split it in half and then, cook it on both sides. And then I'll put a little cheese, so I could totally see the broiling thing.
You are, Jen, I mean,
Yeah.
hot dogs, I feel like, are also an interesting item because they're not for everybody. Like, it doesn't.
Correct.
I don't know why not.
There's a people like, I feel like.
But you got to have the right kinds too.
It's
true. So, Jen, if it's just you, everybody's out of the house. And it's just you, whether it's a snack or whether it's a dinner. What is the way what is the way you're going to fix a hot dog? What is the best way to fix a hot dog?
I kind of thinking now that I'm talking about the skillet. I kind of like that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Jen is skillet. Yours is broiled. And
I may have to try that though.
I'm Anthony.
You just got to be careful though, because it can go from
0 to 60.
Yeah, it can get out of hand very quickly. And
It becomes a Cajun dog.
especially if I got my night correct and you're thinking about it's a random night and I'm just making one hot dog, that means there's probably all kinds of other circumstances involved. And so you just need to make sure you're focused so that it doesn't go from charred to disaster.
And how are you seasoning it?
No, we're just gonna throw it straight in.
Just
it's gonna
straight
be
in,
straight
nothing
in.
on it. Okay.
We're gonna throw it straight in.
This is a conversation we will have for a while because, again, as we get into the spring and the summer and you can get back out and you can start grilling, you got to have these discussions. Chad, again, I'm not sure why we're doing this to each other. Chad says must have for hot dogs, must have mayonnaise on it. No, please stop with that. We did this, Preston, before your time, and I had to eat a mayonnaise donut, and I did about throw up on the live stream. It was closer than it needed to be. Let's just say that.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not a thing for me. I do know a lot of Latin American and Central American countries are big with the mayonnaise and hot dogs. So I have seen that live, but it's not for me.
I have not tried it, I will say.
It's not for me.
I'll get to some of these text messages. We've created another debate within the final minutes of the show.
As we should. Tune in for more.
Hey, listen, I can promise you this. If you tune in pretty much every morning, at some point you're going to catch some kind of food discussion. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
And let me tell you about Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, and or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come to you and they'll give you a free quote for any job that you have. Cracked windshield, no problem. They'll come to your location and replace it for you, usually for free. And they'll work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. If you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, showers, and closures. As you hear us say on the radio all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. Check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. Again, that's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
This report is sponsored by FN America Careers.
Are you ready to join a high-caliber team? FN America is always looking for the best talent to design and build the most innovative firearms. We make world-class products to defend our nation in a friendly, rewarding, and engaging workplace. Explore your next career at fnamerica.com/careers.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are the Gant girls. You know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate for the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do, and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. With John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Do you know about PrEP? PrEP is a medication, either pill or a shot, taken to prevent HIV. PrEP can reduce your risk of getting HIV through sexual contact by more than 90%. PrEP will not protect you from STIs like syphilis, gonorrhea, or chlamydia, so using a condom while on PrEP is advised. To learn if PrEP is right for you, visit scdhec.gov/PrEP.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And taking a look at your traffic conditions out there this morning, we have an accident, Clemson Road at I-20. Also, Meadowfield Road at Blackville Road. Raven Road at Flora Drive. The traffic light's currently malfunctioning, so a slowdown expected there. And an accident reported I-20 eastbound at Spears Creek Church Road.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Well, we found a way to spice up the very end of the show here, Preston and Jen. Let's see here. What people put on their hot dogs. I mean, we'll get into this.
I mean,
later.
we can save that. We can table that.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about the method of cooking.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I've had a caller that already called in about, preferences on, the way to do it and put stuff on it. And I just had a hot dog yesterday at Midway Airport in Chicago. Like, Had to get one more good Chicago type
Good
dog.
Chicago dog.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot. You're going to get plenty of sports talk. We've talked sports this morning. We've previewed the South Carolina Mississippi State game. We've discussed the football program. We've hit recruiting, but you're going to get some good food discussion each and every morning.
If we was just to review it really quickly, there's two kind of low-level SEC basketball teams that are playing against each other.
2-1-7 teams.
2-1-7 teams that are playing against each other. There's a 5-star dude that might eventually pick the university. The nutritionist is gone. All right, now we're on to the food.
I was to say, honestly, when we say we're talking about the nutritionist, and now we're getting into the best hot dogs, and we talked about the chicken, so clearly nutritionists don't belong in this show.
What we're doing is we are trying to angle for a nutritionist for this show, because as you've heard, between the sausage biscuits and the hot dogs, and if you've listened long enough, the donut conversation, this show may need a nutritionist. We may need our own, but we will get into more of that tomorrow morning. We will get into a little bit of signing day stuff. We'll recap that Mississippi State South Carolina game, and we'll get into a few other topics as well. Jen is back officially for at least a small. At least we assume she's back tomorrow.
I'll hang around at least for tomorrow.
Okay, she's good.
Yeah.
I got to wake up again tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. Yeah,
oh, man.
Monday through
Bill
Friday.
doesn't typically, but you can give it a shot.
I actually thought I might wake up late this morning. All right. We will take a 21-hour break, and we will see you everyone tomorrow morning. Y'all have a great Tuesday.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof,
All right, we'll get more efficient on the live stream here.
All right. Sooner or later, we'll get Preston. Hit him up at Coach P Tweets. Tell him to bring his computer or laptop. That's how we get him on.
That's right.
Have to find his way into the live stream. Appreciate that, Troy. See you tomorrow, Anthony. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of the day.
See you guys.